2, 1.
He's got that fire in his soul, fight stick in his hand. From Soulcalibur to Tekken, he's taking a stand. On the screen, he's a beast, off it, he's real. No tolerance for snakes, he's breaking the seal. Every combo's clean, every red is tight. But he's swinging for justice when he steps in the light. You can hear it in his voice when he calls out the fakes. Not just crushing skulls, he's exposing the snakes. Mike Hollow, in the ring and the scene, guarding the FGC like a war machine. No silence, no fear, he's speaking his mind. When the world gets toxic, he won't stay blind. He fights for the good, for the real and the true. Mike Hollow's coming through. He learned from the legends, he studied the game. From Killick to King, he's earned that name. In the lab every night where the battles are won. He's got Mortal Kombat scars, but he never runs. He's more than a player, he's a voice for the crew. Buffling the lost, showing what's true. When the bullies roll in, try to shake the stage, he pulls out the truth like a sword of rage. Mike Hollow, in the ring and the scene, guarding the FGC like a war machine. No silence, no fear, he's speaking his mind. When the world gets toxic, he won't stay blind. He fights for the good, for the real and the true. Mike Hollow's coming through. Yo, this ain't just about frames and punishes. It's about community, integrity, respect. We build this together, or we watch it fall. I ain't letting it fall. FGC, stand with the ones who care. FGC, call out the ones who scare. FGC, Mike's got your back, beware. This fight's more than pixels, it's truth laid bare. Mike Hollow, in the ring and the scene, guarding the FGC like a war machine. No silence, no fear, he's speaking his mind. When the world gets toxic, he won't stay blind. He fights for the good, for the real and the true. Mike Hollow's coming through. Yeah, Mike Hollow's coming through.
All right, how's everyone going? We are here with another episode of Fate Chat, and today we have with us back on the show Mike Hollow, real Mike Hollow. How you going, man?
Not bad, bro. I enjoyed the song and the visuals.
Oh,
Didn't know that you knew that Ghost Rider was my favorite Marvel character.
so I was paying attention when I think it was on Twitter, when you were requesting, I think the statue from Lynx. And you mentioned something like that, and I love Ghost Rider as well. Well, Ghost Rider's just, Ghost Rider, Scorpion, Spawn, those anti-hero type hell-based characters. So yeah. So I thought, well, I try and like when I do this stuff, I try and get themes of stuff that people might like or things I know about them to get in there. So yeah. So.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. It was a good song. It was a good song. It gassed me up a little bit.
No, that's all right, man. It's all good. Well, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So so this is kind of like it's kind of like your platform really to talk about stuff. I've got things I'll ask you and whatever, but um who is Mike Hollow? How did you get into fighting games or that sort of thing?
Uh, who am I? That's a difficult question to answer. Sometimes I don't even know myself. Um, well, in terms of getting into fighting games, I got into fighting games when I was like maybe I think the first time Mortal Kombat was the first fighting game that I played, if memory serves correctly, and it was Trilogy. I think Trilogy was the first one I got to play, and I remember me and my brother would compete on Gran Turismo a lot, and
Oh
we were
yeah.
pretty even on it. Like we couldn't overcome each other. Like he would always pick the Suzuki and I'd pick the Subaru, and depending on the track, like one of us would win. So I remember we were searching for games to play and we came across Mortal Kombat,
Yep.
and he actually like he fell in love with Mortal Kombat instantly. I was a bit like, don't know about this, man. I'm not too sure, but we kept playing it, and he really thought it was good. So then I was like, okay, I can't stand for this. And at the same time, my friend was going through the same thing, but with Street Fighter with his older brother,
Mm.
and it just all sort of like we just played them so much that I just stayed with fighting games, and then
Yep.
obviously got into like the anime side of it as well, and then got introduced to the arcade scene, which is some of the most fun memories that I have of
Mm.
fighting games. So yeah, that's my introduction to fighting games. It probably was influenced by like Bruce Lee and watching Dragon Ball as a kid and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's cool that you mentioned Gran Turismo. That is very cool. I don't own a PlayStation. I haven't for many years, but if there's one game I hope that Sony brings to PC, it's Gran Turismo eventually. Outside of obviously emulation. Was that the Subaru Impreza that you were using, or yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was the one that it's not the one that Peter Solberg won the World Rally Championship with. It's the model before it. I think it was like the '97 model,
Yeah,
but
that's
it was
not
like the one with like
that's not the Colin McRae one, is it?
no, no, yes, it is the Colin McRae one.
Yeah,
Because I think Peter Solberg came afterwards.
yep, yeah. Okay. So there's a love of racing games. All right. This is cool. I'll save that for later anyway. But so with the fighting game scene, you said your fond memories were in the arcade. What was the fighting games that you were playing in the arcade that you remember? Like, what was the first one you not only got into, but really enjoyed investing time into fighting other people against?
The first one I actually played was Virtua Fighter. I think it was Virtua Fighter. Might have been two or three.
Yep.
But I remember in Trocadero when you would walk in, you'd have Tokyo Toys here, and then you'd have the stairs going up, and on
Yep.
the first floor you had Initial D and DDR and all that stuff, and then at the top floor was fighting games, and the first fighting game you see is Tekken.
Yep.
But I was quite young, and a lot of the guys that come into my arcade were like guys from the streets, like they were selling their CDs or selling drugs or whatever, and they'd
Yep.
find Street Fighter, Tekken, and come to play. So I was a bit scared to approach them and be like, "Oh, can I play?" So I remember Virtua Fight was always pretty quiet. There was like a couple of Asian dudes there, and they were always
Yep.
pretty like relaxed. So played that first, and then as I got more familiar, and they saw me at the arcades with my friends, they would like say, "Yo, why don't you come play Tekken?" And then yeah, Tekken was the one where I really like
Yep.
I got into it. I believe it was I'm gonna say Tekken 4, but my memory is a little bit hazy.
Yep. Wow. So you missed out on like one, two, and three in the arcade. That's gotta. That's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, because Tekken 1 was the first one that I played, but I played it at home.
Yeah.
Because I was so young.
Yep.
And then obviously I played 2, then I played 3, and then we went to the arcades when Tekken 4 was about to drop. So
Yep.
yeah, I started at the beginning, but I didn't get to the arcades until the fourth installment.
Yep. Shit. Yeah, because I remember when like when the arcade versions, I was saying this to Steven in the interview the other week from Digital Eclipse. I said that like younger generation don't understand like the arcade fighting games, they were like the pinnacle perfect version. And it only I think it was up until the PlayStation 1 that we finally got not only arcade perfect ports, but even then some. Like it would actually like eclipse, the quality of what the arcade was putting out. But that's wild. I still remember those games. I remember Tekken coming out, man. It it was a big sort of like, a stand up to Virtual Fighter. It was great. It was good to have the competition for sure. So,
Well, I remember we were all really excited because I obviously started on Tekken 1 and 2, and then in Tekken 3, my friend loved it, but I never liked Tekken 3 because Kazuya wasn't in it.
yep,
And then I remember when we saw the opening video and it was revealed that Kazuya had like come back from the dead
yep,
and like took his glasses off and it was like, I'm holding all the cards now. And
yep.
I was like, I
That's
gotta
it.
be the best at this game.
So, and I do know that you're also a Jinpachi fanboy. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Jinpachi was my guy. And I mean, when I played him on Tekken 5 when he became playable,
Yep.
obviously he was broken, so I couldn't like claim that I was good like with the character because he could just basically run over everyone.
Yep.
But then he became playable in Tekken Tag 2, and because of Jinpachi and H Shinoga being in the same game, for me that Tekken game you can't surpass it. It's
Yep.
also just like a massive love letter to the series. So yeah, I'm constantly tweeting Harada saying, "Where's my boy? Like you've got all the other Mishimers here. Where's Jinpachi? It's not like you can't bring people back from the dead."
Yeah, that's true. I think that ship has definitely sailed when it comes to their legitimacy for storytelling for sure.
Yeah.
So this is, and because obviously you've done a fair bit of competitive stuff, do you want to let everyone know what you've done with that? Because I do have a question in like involving that. So it's better that people know what you've done because then it will make more sense. Yeah.
So I started competing when Street Fighter 4 came out, and I was fairly successful considering the competition. Like I never won massive tournaments, but I won some locals. I won opening day tournaments, and that was for Street Fighter 4 and Super Street Fighter 4, and actually Ultra as well.
Yep.
So Street Fighter 4 was where I really started competing, but when I actually started winning and going abroad and doing well was when Soulcalibur 5 sort of hit the market. And nobody I don't know why nobody was using Algo, and I was like, why is nobody using this character? He seems ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I picked him up. I remember I went to Gamer Base, which is where Chocodero Arcade used to be, and on the left hand side was a HMV, and it was always Marvel Free and Soulcalibur. So I was like, okay, I'll try my hand. The Soulcalibur scene is kind of old, like they're probably the oldest fighting game scene that I've seen. So when I went in there, I was like, man, these guys are way older than me. They all know each other. Like, they're going to kick my ass. In my first tournament, I got third place, which I was really happy about because in the UK, we've got some of the best players in Europe.
Yep.
And in that tournament was Talon, Silent Joel, King of Hyrule. And King of Hyrule at the time was considered the best player in Europe next to Kayane and Eve. And I got third place. And then the next tournament, I think I got third again, and then I don't know when it was, but I won eventually, and it was against King of Hyrule, and the video is still on YouTube. That was like a big crown and achievement for me because nobody could beat this guy. Like
Yep.
he was, like watching him play, it was like watching like Mayweather box. Like you just couldn't hit him. His
Yep.
strong wall was so ridiculous, but I managed to get under his skin, and he got really angry. And I knew that like I can use this to my advantage because he hates my character.
Yep.
So I was doing these really cheesy things because he's one of those analytical players.
Yep.
He's like, okay, he knows all the frames, he knows how to dance around things, and my character kind of threw his whole game plan out the window. And Algo had this attack where you could press down back square, and he would sweep your legs, and if you had full meter, he would summon a chair. The chair would fall on you, and then Algo would sit on it, and you'd lose 80%. And I did that at the beginning of the round, and he literally looked at me and goes, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro." He was rattled the entire time, and I never let him live it down. I tell him about it all the time. So yeah, that's why I got started, and then obviously I moved on to Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
I won the first big tournament in I'd say the UK. Like we didn't have anything other than what was going on in London, so I won the first big one, and then Foxy won the second one.
Yep.
And I was in the grand finals against Foxy. I got fourth place in Fatal 8, which was an invitation of the best 8 players in the UK at the time. I was top of the leaderboard for quite a long time on MKX and Soulcalibur 5. And then obviously like I've got my whole anime side of things as well.
Yep.
I compete on Sparking Zero, Demon Slayer. Currently I'm ranked number 1 in the world with Kain on Bleach. So yeah, kind of all over the place. Enjoy playing loads of different fighters.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like as you know, I'm absolutely the best when it comes to competitive fighting games. No, that's not true at all. But I love the genre. I love the genre. I love fighting games. I love the worlds, the characters that come up with and everything like that. So here's my question. How do you choose a fighter? Do you just go like, I'll go, oh, he looks fucking cool, I'm just going to use him? Or are you more of a, I'll go through every character's move list and go, right, this is the most optimal character to use and screw everyone else, even if it's not a favorite? How do you approach choosing someone in a fighting game?
So I used to be all about picking a character based on royalty because my favorite character was Vegeta.
Yep.
And obviously he's the Prince of All Saiyans. So my thing was that I'm gonna find a character that is as close to like a king or a prince or something in a fighting game.
Yep.
So I would for Smash Bros. I went to Moth because I believe he was a prince in Fire Emblem.
Yep.
For Injustice I went. Well, Black Adam was already my favorite character, but I would have gone to him anyway because he's the king of forgot his name. Is it called Is it Kanda? I think Kanda. I went to Algo because he's the Hero King.
Yep.
I went to Jinpachi because he's the patriarch of the Mishima family.
Yep.
But I always did it based on that. As I've gotten older now, it's more based on what will satisfy my playstyles. So in Bleach, my favorite character is Byakuya, and I don't like playing him in the game. I just don't like his playstyle very much, even though his abilities are my favorite.
Yep.
So I went to a character called Kaien because Kaien is kind of like Ryu, and I like to play basic, and I don't like using loads of gimmicks. I like just using fundamentals, and that's how he's designed. So that's how I pick them now.
Yep. Okay. So I've been noticing that you've been actually pretty into Bleach, and we can get into that a little bit later. Do you think you would have looked at Bleach if Tekken hadn't been going the way it's been going? Like, do you feel like I feel that way with Grand Blue? If MK1 was great, I may not have invested too much time in Grand Blue. Do you kind of feel maybe it was the same, possibly, or?
No, I would have gone to because I play loads of anime fighting games anyway.
Yeah.
Like I grew up playing Budokai and Tenkaichi.
Yep.
I was literally like before I went out, I was playing Demon Slayer,
Nice.
getting ready because there's a tournament coming up for the new one.
Yep.
So like yeah, anime games you will always catch me on them. I'm in the anime games discords, the European and North American one.
Yep.
And Bleach originally wasn't one of my favorite shows. Me and my friend had a little rivalry, and I was always Dragon Ball, he was always Bleach. But when I got older, I grew to appreciate Bleach a lot more.
Yep.
So that's why I love the show itself, but I love the way the game is designed. So that's been my main game now since Tekken just kicked the bucket. But I am gonna try Fahkumram in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think you were saying last time that you're really like, and I didn't know the lore of the character. I actually didn't know he was a good guy, and that he was being used essentially, his family held hostage, and therefore, he's now, having to fight to free them. That is pretty cool. I had no idea. I thought he was essentially just like this big Sagat type but Tekken, just a big brute. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a terrible job explaining who he is, and because I love Tekken, I was like, let me find out because I don't want to play a character that has a stupid story. Like I just even if they match my play style, I'm like, okay, I can't play this character because they're stupid. But when I saw Fahkumram, I was like, oh, he looks evil, but he's not. He's a good guy. He's just fighting for his family.
Yeah.
And I like all the little bits and pieces of his story about like his tattoos and that.
Yeah.
So Tekken did a terrible job explaining it because no one seemed to know. I remember when I did the video and people were like, oh, didn't know that. And it seems like now they're trying to like explain a little bit more why he's covered in tattoos, why he's got a lightning crest, why he keeps on referring to his family. So yeah, I will often look at a character's personality, and if I don't feel like their personality is what I want represented in a character, I'll probably just back away from them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So when you said like you've obviously like you love Kazuya, but you weren't a big fan of him not being in Tekken 4. Was Jin not a suitable substitute at the time, or?
Oh, you mean Tekken 3?
Was it Tekken 3? Tekken 3. Yes, right. Yep. Tekken 3. Yep.
Yeah, because it was that thing where it was like like Tekken 3 brought in all the new characters. It was the new blood at the time. It was like Third Strike.
Yep.
And I was like, where's all the OGs, man? Like Michelle's dead, Kazuya's dead. They're like, where is everybody? And then I saw his son, and I had the same reaction to Jin that I did Boruto. I was like, why do I care about you? I'm here for Naruto. I'm not here for Boruto. So when I saw
Yep.
Jin, my friend made it worse because it was like, oh, this guy's way better than Kazuya. So me as a kid was like, I gotta defend Kazuya's honor.
Yep.
Like the way we see people online now talking about characters and we're like, grow up.
Yep.
It's because I was a kid at the time, so I was like, got to defend my guy. So I like Tekken 3 because it's a good game. Like it's objectively a great fighting game.
Mm.
But I was just a bit like, my guy's not here, man. I don't want to play it.
Yeah, true. What was like so? And I know you're a big Soulcalibur fan. But before we get into that, what's your favorite? What's your favorite Tekken? Like, so if they did the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection treatment, but for Tekken, and they announced like all the Tekken games, what would be the one that you'd be like, that's it, day one, fucking 8 hour stream, you know, I'll just be a happy clam. Which one would it be, you think?
Tag 2 easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tag 2 easily. Like I think Tag 2 is like the biggest love letter to Tekken, and I've always loved it. And I know people hated it for some time, but the sentiment seems to be changing a bit now because a lot of the newer players are also sick of Tekken 8, so they're going back and experiencing what we did, and they're finding wow, like they've got all these cool Easter eggs in the game. There's all these like custom tag, depending on who you're fighting. There's a ton of characters. It's a tag game. There's no heat, so yeah, like it's. Yeah, Tekken Tag 2 easily. If it wasn't Tekken Tag 2, it would probably be Tekken 6. Tekken 6 might be the other one that I like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was I mean, again, like I just like the fact it was pretty much every Tekken character up to that point, which was cool. But can you explain why Tekken Tag gets so much flack? Like, because like apparently it was a failure, like from what I hear. But it looks amazing. It sounds great. Like it's just I don't know. It's just it seems like such a polished product from top to toe. But can you explain why it was like people didn't like it?
Yeah, so I think Tekken at the time, people were starting to experience a little bit of fatigue because we went from Tekken 5, which was like the highest point in the series at that time.
Yep.
And then Tekken 6, although it was good, it introduced rage and that really pissed off a lot of people. And you could see it reflected in the sales because it didn't sell anywhere near as good as Tekken 5.
Yep.
And then Tekken Tag 2 came out. It didn't come out that long after. And I think people were a little bit like, we're just tired of Tekken, which was a shame because it's such a beautiful game. Even the character models still look really good.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Tag 2 that anyone that's played it would tell you is that it is very, very difficult. Like it is notoriously difficult to play. It's very chaotic as well. Like Tekken players referred to it as like the Marvel of Tekken.
Yep.
There's just so much shit happening. But in hindsight, now with Tekken 8 and all the shit in there, it doesn't seem so bad. So people are more willing to give it a chance. But at the time, Tekken Tag 2 was in the Marvel 3 Ultra Street Fighter 4 era, and they were just like, they monopolized the fighting game scene, in my opinion. And there was no way for Tekken to really, there was no wiggle room, to be honest with you. And again, it was very difficult to get into.
So what about Soulcalibur? So, because I know you're a Soulcalibur fanboy, I've always loved Soulcalibur. I can still hear the fucking intro in my head from all the way back in the PlayStation 1 days, where it would just sit there on repeat, you know. And what was your favorite? Like, because that was one of the earliest fighting games that also introduced guest characters compared to other fighters as well. But what would be your favorite of all the Soulcaliburs?
My favorite Soulcalibur 5 easily. Like,
Yeah.
I still play Soulcalibur 5. It's the only fighting game where like I can put it down for years and I remember everything about my character. Because a lot of the time when if I stop playing a game for a little while, I start to forget.
Yep.
But Soulcalibur 5, I played it so much that I know exactly what to do with Algo. I remember all the matchups. I still remember how to do just frame correctly.
Yep.
And the funny thing about 5 is that it was unfinished. And you can see in a lot of the characters, it's an unfinished product.
Yep.
So it's a shame because I love it as it is. It would have been nice to see what it looked like as a finished product. But 5, and then probably 3, and then 2. 5, 3, and 2.
Was 4 was the Star Wars era, wasn't it? Was that the Darth
Yeah,
Vader? Yeah, yeah.
they had critical edge in 4, and I was just like, I can't. Like, critical edge is the dumbest mechanic I've ever seen.
So can you explain that for those that don't know?
Critical edge is a mechanic where you destroy 3 different parts of your opponent's armor or like guard or something,
Hmm.
and then you get a one-hit super move. So you could on top of that, 4 was like riddled with glitches, and Algol was broken. He wasn't usable in tournaments, which sucked for me.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, you could do a one-button super move, and
Yep.
as long as you broke those 3 pieces, which for some characters wasn't that hard,
Yep.
you just press it and then they die, and
Yep.
you're just like, who? Why would you do this?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope Bandai Namco, after seeing what Capcom and now Mortal Kombat's doing, or NetherRealm, bring back collections, because man, they just, dude, it would sell so much. Imagine being able to play like all of those old Tekken games, all the old Soulcalibur games. Shit, man, they could do it for fucking Dragon Ball. They could bring back all the old Budokai games from back in the PS2 days,
Yeah,
and make a fortune, absolute fortune.
that's what we've been asking for. I mean, they did it on PS3 for Soul Calibur 5, Tekken 6, and Tag 2. I've got the PS3 copy of that packaged together.
Yep.
So they can do it on the PS3. They 100% can do it on the PS5, and they can put more games on there.
Yep. So, are you a frame data type of person, or are you kind of, do you do a little bit of labbing, or are you more of a case of just feel the gameplay, get in there, try some shit out, see if it doesn't work, maybe lab a bit, come back out into the game? How do you approach like the dissecting of
Yeah,
your character?
yeah, I don't read frame data at all. Because I grew up playing Soul Calibur, the 8-way run notation thing used to confuse me.
Yep.
Like the guys would be like, "Oh, Mike, do 213, 213 BB." I'm like, what? Just tell me, is it square or triangle, bro? Like, is it back or forward? So I was always the kind of person that was like, I'll just jump in ranked and I'll just play. I'll feel it out.
Yep.
I've always been like that. I didn't even practice on Soul Calibur 5 the way you should. A lot of the combos that were in tournaments, I created them. I don't know if like obviously you would follow a conventional path and people will find them anyway.
Yep.
So it's not like they all saw me doing it because I never uploaded any footage. People saw me doing them in tournaments, but I never uploaded combo videos. So I'm guessing it was the obvious way to do them, but I came up with those combos on my own.
Yep.
And there was one in particular I still don't see anyone using, a reset. So most of the time I won't go into training modes. Even on a Bleach,
Yep.
I didn't go into training mode. I was like, Kyan looks cool. Kind of plays like Ryu. I'll just play him and see what happens.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though. I mean, you know, I just, it's not, I mean, obviously there's always been frame data, but like visual on-screen frame data is something that's, you know, it's been around for a little bit now, but it wasn't back then. But it sounds very much like you're definitely an analog player. You know, you just, you know, feel how, you know, things are, you know, coming out from your character and their character and just going from there, which is cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a point in a fighting game that you've gone, no, I've got to get in training and I've got to figure this shit out. I can't figure it out. Has there ever been a moment, anytime?
Probably on Street Fighter 4 because I had a very heated rivalry with my friend. He played Chun-Li,
Yep.
and anytime like if he did manage to beat me, I couldn't have it. Like I was like, I can't have this guy winning. So I would probably back then I probably would have done it.
Yep.
But I can't remember a time like recently where I've gone into training mode to lab something. I might pop into training mode to like just make sure that I'm hitting the combo properly, but
Yep.
nothing. I wouldn't say I'm labbing anything like the way these guys do on Twitter.
Yep.
I'm definitely not doing it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so you mentioned Street Fighter 4 a couple of times because I love Street Fighter 4 out of 5 and 6. Like, I think just roster wise, it kind of, you know, harkens back to when I first saw the Upper Alpha 3 roster that came out in the PS1. You know, just all these extra characters were in there. And it just had a really good, like, I mean, anything with Fei Long in it is great, you know. So, and we haven't seen Fei Long come back since 4. What's your favorite modern day Street Fighter out of say 4, 5, and 6? Where would you sit with that?
Yeah, probably 4 as well. Although I have way more playtime on 4 than I do 6, so
Yep.
maybe it's not fair to compare them, but 4 was like a sweet spot between the like old school and the new school.
Yep.
So yeah, probably 4. I really enjoyed playing Bison and Oni in that game. Thought Oni was a sick character design.
Yep. Yeah, I liked it. And they also added in, what was his name? Was it Sheng Long? So they actually made him a character, I think. Was that his name? It was basically like
Goku.
yeah, he was like the old dude. So back in Street Fighter 2, I think when you defeated someone with Ryu, his winning phrase would be like, "Oh, you have to defeat Shang Long to stand a chance." And so
Yeah.
people thought it was a secret character, but I think it was just in reference to say his Dragon Punch. But then when 4 came out, they had that old bald dude. He looked like a Street Fighter version of Jinpachi. You know, he was just a fucking tank. You know, and he'd just do like a palm. I think it was like a palm strike or whatever. That was cool. Like, yeah, I don't know, something about 4. I don't know. It's still got the best roster, and I miss Fei Long.
Yeah, Goken was a sick character inclusion because he's Ryu's
That's it,
master
Goku,
and
yeah.
Akuma's brother.
Yep.
Yeah, so having Akuma's brother in the game was like, this is super sick. But
Yeah.
I think Akuma officially killed him in 4, if I remember correctly. So I don't think he's gonna come back.
Maybe they should talk to the writers over at Tekken team and ask them how to bring characters back. So
Yeah.
they could do that. So all right, so you're still competing, right? But would you ever physically compete again, or is it just basically online?
No, I mean I won a Sparking Zero tournament in Central London a couple of months ago,
Oh yeah.
and then I won another one like a month after that. So I went there in person. The first tournament was quite big. Second tournament was much bigger. So yeah, I most of the time now I'm competing on anime games just because I they're not as difficult to play as Tekken and Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat,
Mm.
and I'm already pretty like well versed in a lot of the anime games they're releasing. So
Yep.
I'm just like, okay, well they're giving out a bit of money over here, and
Yep.
these games are kind of easy for me, so
Yep.
I enjoy them. I mean, why not compete? Tekken is I'm not gonna win any money on Tekken. Like
Yep.
it's too the ceiling is too high, and even though I've been able to beat some of those high ranked players,
Yep.
I'm too inconsistent. So I try to use my time wisely. Like
Mm.
I know I'm not gonna go to a Street Fighter 6 tournament and win, but I know that if they do a Bleach tournament, even though there's stiff competition at the top, I think I could probably win.
Mm. I remember a long time ago, I asked Foxy once, and he could have been trolling. You know what Foxy's like. I said, do you guys like playing Mortal Kombat? And he's like, no one at this level likes playing Mortal Kombat, right? And I don't know if he was trolling or not, but I'm assuming you're enjoying more playing the anime fighters. You know, you actually enjoy loading them up. You know, being invested in the game, like you're actually having fun. Like even if you are competing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not like Foxy or whatever, where maybe he'll play a game he doesn't like, but maybe because he's a professional player, it's
Mm.
different. I just can't do it. If I don't like something, I can't play it.
Yep.
Like I haven't played Tekken 8 since season 2 dropped, and
Yep.
the only reason I'm going to try it out is because one of my favorite characters is coming back, and they're meant to be updating all of the defense in a couple of days.
Yep.
So if I dislike a game, I'm out. Like
Yep.
I don't care. I was sponsored at one point, and I started to really dislike Injustice, and I told my sponsors I was like, I can't stand playing this game anymore. Like we're gonna have to do something about this because I don't want to play it. It's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And obviously they weren't happy about that. So
Yeah. So, so you mentioned defensive stuff for Tekken. So, I mean, I am just like slow casual when it comes to Tekken. So, what's defensive stuff in regards to a Tekken game? Is it just simply just better blocking, side steps, counters, you know, that sort of thing? What are they looking at, or whatnot?
I think the main thing right now, well, they've addressed sidestepping. The sidestepping is really good in Tekken 8. The problem is that the tracking on moves and the homing is so powerful that you wouldn't be able to tell that the sidestepping is good.
Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
now
Yep.
you can't buff the sidestepping more, otherwise you're literally going to turn it into Soulcalibur.
Yep.
So they need to nerf the tracking and the homing, which will solve a lot of the problems because they solved the power crush problem.
Yep.
That has mostly gone away, and you can move well in the game, but the actual attacks are too powerful. So that's how they'll by nerfing offense, they will indirectly buff defense.
Yep.
That's pretty much all that we're looking for. The offense is way too high. The 50-50s into launchers it's like, if you watch Anna fighting, it's just like, but I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's so ridiculous. So they need to change all of that.
Mm.
And then, Tekken 8 will still probably not be my favorite Tekken game because of the whole heat mechanic, but it will definitely be playable.
Do you think they would okay, so theory crafting here. If Virtual Fighter comes out as a basically like a no nonsense fighter, no gimmicks, no heat, no power bars, no nothing, just a straight up fighter, would that force, Bandai to look at Tekken in a future release and go, maybe we need to scale back, and realize that less is more?
I think that's what's going to happen in Tekken 9 anyway. I think that they've gone too far.
Yep.
They had they hit the sweet spot in Tekken 7.
Yep.
Where the old school players, they didn't really like super attacks, but they were like, I think -16 or something.
Yep.
And they were like, okay, cool, I can heavy punish this. And they weren't too big on rage drive, but it was like, okay, it's just a one-time pop in the round, it's whatever.
Yep.
Apart from like Cat Marduk,
Yep.
it might as well be. But Tekken 8 went way too far, and I think they know that now because they're scaling it back with every patch.
Yep.
So Virtua Fighter releases in a good state, which I believe it will because RGG's doing it, and they've never missed. I've never played a bad RGG game, and it sells well.
Yep.
And people get behind it. Then Tekken will be forced to reevaluate their plan. I think that they've stepped away from what made them special, and they've tried to be too much like a 2D fighting game, but they're still Tekken, so it's just a mess. Like, you don't even know what you're looking at.
Has there been any design philosophy come out from Harada or Michael Murray explaining why they went in this direction? Did they ever state, this is, okay, all right, yep.
They wanted to appeal to spectators. So they were like, a big problem with Tekken 7 is that people called it a backdash simulator, which is not true. It was only like that at the very highest level.
Yep.
And it's not fair to say that about Tekken 7 where you look at everything at the very highest level.
Yep.
The two top fighters tend to be super cautious, whether that be in other fighting games or if you're watching the UFC, they're normally circling each other and like lightly jabbing here and there.
Yep.
So they saw that, and they saw Arslan Ash and Knee just backdashing a lot and then going for a jab and then backdashing. But that was at the pinnacle of Tekken 7.
Yeah.
That wasn't how Tekken 7 was played for its lifespan.
Yep.
And 99% of the player base online couldn't play like that anyway.
Yep.
So they saw that and they were like, we need to make this more fun for spectators. How do we do that? Let's just nerf defense and buff aggression. And I remember I was sitting in the theater in Amsterdam. I was part of the crowd that Tekken 8 was first revealed to, like when we saw gameplay. And I was there, King J was there, Mrs. Playstuff, I think K Wiss was there. There was a bunch of Tekken heads. This is before I was even on YouTube properly. And they showed us Paul doing Death Fist into Death Fist into Death Fist, and I was like, I literally grabbed my head. I was like, bro, what have they done? Immediately, I was like, this is a bad idea. And my friend was like, oh, Mike, calm down, man. I was like, bro, are you not seeing what I'm seeing? Like, Paul's canceling Death Fist.
Yeah.
It's like Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they wanted to... Because initially, everyone in the crowd went, oh. But it wasn't like, oh, this is cool. It was like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? And I don't think Harada picked up on that.
Yeah.
So, that was the design philosophy, more aggression.
So with obviously with anime fighters, they're very flashy. Do you think they looked at them and went, oh, also we'll borrow that, try and make everything explode and just be bombastic as well, or, just to try and like make things visually appealing, like that's just 100%.
They Bandai Namco owns majority of the big anime IPs. So they probably looked at Ultimate Ninja Storm and Demon Slayer and Dragon Ball, and they were like, we need to make it more explosive like these games because these games always sell really well.
Yep.
But what they failed to understand is that those games serve a different purpose.
Yep.
They're not Tekken.
Yeah.
And if those games tried to be Tekken, they would also fail. They need to be their own thing. And unfortunately, Tekken, it kind of feels like a Shonen Jump anime fighting game sometimes.
Yep.
And sometimes people be like, "Oh, well, Mike, you like Shonen Jump anime fights?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like, but I want Tekken to be Tekken.
Yep.
I don't want Mortal Kombat to be a Shonen Jump anime fighting game just because I like Dragon Ball.
Mm.
I don't want Dragon Ball to be a violent, over the top, bloody, like fatality, just ridden fighting game just because I like the other one."
Yeah. So, are you excited for something like Invincible? The Invincible Versus game coming out? I had to ask, man. I had to ask.
Invincible. I think it's a great TV show. I watched it from beginning to end. I watched the special, but I saw it and I was like, it doesn't look bad. But then when I heard everything is like no motions and one button supers, I was like, I'm not supporting this one button super stuff. Like, it's maybe I can't escape it in some of my favorite fighting games, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to just support games like that.
Yeah. So, it's cool that you mentioned Demon Slayer too, because I watched, I think we watched the first. It was so there was the first season, and then I think was it like a movie at the end of the first season. I'm just trying to remember, because this was a few years back. Because my daughter, like, she loves anime, and we were watching. We decided to watch Demon Slayer, and she really liked it. So we haven't gone back, I think, for season 2 yet. But I bought the game. Like, I usually buy fighting games on release, whether I play them straight away or not. And I really liked what they offered. I thought it was pretty good, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of buzz around it. So when they announced number 2, I was like, shit, that's okay. That's interesting. So did it do better than what most people think?
Yeah, Demon Slayer did pretty well, I think. Like, in the anime scene, people were pretty high on it. It's very reminiscent of Ultimate Ninja Storm.
Yep.
It's done by the same developers, but it doesn't have Bandai Namco as the publisher. It's got Sega, which is nice because Sega actually like give a shit about stuff. So
yeah,
Demon Slayer did well. Like, there's a lot of buzz around Demon Slayer 2 as well. A lot of the people in the Bleach space are worried that it's gonna crush Bleach because of its popularity. So yeah, they'll probably do a third one as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a third one.
So what are the okay? So here's a question for you, because it's one of the few things that does sort of bug me, and I've asked people about this with like Dragon Ball fighters as well, where you'll get like, say, like one character, and then you'll have like these what visually looks like tiny variations of each. And in Demon Slayer, you had like different variations. I can't think of the dude's name off the top of my head, the main character, right? So you had like, I think 2 or 3 versions you could choose, and he wore different stuff. But like, I look at that and I go, oh, is that just lazy or not? Can you explain if that is lazy? They do it in Dragon Ball too, where they'll have like, Goku, but they'll have like a whole different variations of him. It's like, but isn't it the same guy, just slightly different? Or so how do you process that?
In Demon Slayer, it's 100% lazy.
Okay.
All
right.
They just in Demon Slayer, the only thing they do that other fighting games don't is if you pick a different Tanjiro, for example, he'll do a different super.
Okay.
So you'll activate it in the same way, but the animation will be it'll be redone for like that specific costume.
Yep.
In Demon Slayer 2, they seem to have taken that one step further, and now everybody's got custom team supers, which look insane.
Yep.
I do commend them for that, because they are beautiful looking super attacks. In Dragon Ball, it depends on the Dragon Ball game. If you're talking Budokai, then each Goku plays differently.
Okay.
But if you're talking about like Sparking Zero, there are quite a bit of variations in Sparking Zero compared to older Tenkaichi games, but there are some times where it's like, okay, you've changed like 1 or 2 moves here and there, or like he's got a power boost going Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of like copy and paste in these games, but they do seem to be separating them like more and more over time.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course you are a Yakuza fan. How long have you been playing Yakuza for? PS2 days?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan on the PS2 days, but I played them because of Shenmue.
Yep. Nice. Yeah.
I would say that I really got into Yakuza. I think it was like maybe 13 years ago. It's been now that I really got into it.
Yep.
And it's just been like, from a narrative standpoint, it's been my favorite thing ever. Although I will admit, after Yakuza 6, there was a noticeable dip in the main line's storytelling. They've definitely gone down more the comedy route rather than the
Yeah,
serious route. And it seems like the spin-off games are the more serious ones now, like Judgment and
Judgment.
Lost
Yeah,
Judgment.
yeah,
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 like those games are like really, really intense in their storytelling. And I love the comedy, but I don't want the comedy to be the central theme.
yeah.
Um, so even like Pirate Yakuza, that's the only one I haven't started yet.
Mm,
It looks very goofy, and I love the goofiness, but the goofiness was always like a secondary part of the game. It wasn't like the main part. The main part was always serious and violent, and
yeah.
like they had really dark themes, like
Mm,
about abuse and like substance abuse and murder.
yeah.
I don't know, like after Yakuza 6, which is where Kiryu's story wrapped up, it definitely feels like they're trying to appeal to a new audience.
Mm. Yeah, and they may have to learn the hard way. I mean, I remember playing them a bit back in the PS2, and then when I got the PS4, that's when they brought out like the remastered or like more remake versions, I guess, of them. Because I didn't think they'd come to Steam, man. Right, and I'm like, oh, I'd love these games on PC, I really would. And then like months later, they announced it. So I'm like, fuck. So then I started rebuying them on PC, and I've been slowly working through. Like I've just started all the way back with Zero. I think it's Yakuza Zero, and I I'm OCD with Yakuza. I can't not do everything for whatever fucking weird reason. I'm like, no, I can't leave the side. I got to do all the side stories before I move on. I got to do everything. Are you like that as well with Yakuza games, or do you just go back, and then do like a new game plus or whatever?
No, like Yakuza, in order for you to experience the game in its entirety, you have to do everything
Yep.
because it has the sub stories,
Yep.
and the sub stories carry over. So when you go from Yakuza 0 to 6, there's a sub story. I won't spoiler it,
Mm.
but if you start in Yakuza 6, it ends in Yakuza. Sorry, if you start in Yakuza 0, it ends in Yakuza 6, and you get to see the progression of the particular character in that sub story.
Yep.
And if you just play the mainline story, you'll never get to experience that.
Yep.
And the ending of it is like it's a really wholesome, down to earth ending. And again, because Yakuza 6 was still being directed by the original guy that created it,
Yep.
he had a way of telling stories that was obviously appealed to men,
Yep.
and it appealed to men's sensitivities, and he was
Mm.
really, really good at that. And there's a particular story that ended in Yakuza 6, and I was like, wow, that was really impressive storytelling that he
Mm.
managed to keep that going for years.
Yep.
And it didn't end with like violence and guns. It was a really wholesome ending, but it still felt like this was written by a man for a man.
Yep. It's crazy how small, like, because I remember when Yakuza came out, and it was like, oh, this is like a tiny non-drivable version of GTA set in Japan. But it's
Mm.
fucking it's crazy how they could use like mostly the same location, if not all the same location every time. It's small, but yet I don't get bored. How is the fuck is that even possible? It's so small, like, and yet compared to other open world games, and yet despite that, it is just absolutely just I don't get bored running around.
It's so densely packed. Like if you play GTA,
Yep,
it's massive, but there's a lot of nothing going on. Like
yep,
people just driving around, living their
yep,
lives. Every now and then you'll get to a shop and people start shooting or whatever. But in Yakuza, everywhere you go, there's something going on. There's little side roads you can go down. And funnily enough, when I went to Japan, I was like, okay, let me see how accurate this game really is. And
yep.
I found the streets. I found everything. Like everything that they have in the game. They've changed names to
Mm,
like not get done, but I found there's a particular bar in Yakuza called Lucky that you've probably seen by now.
mm,
And that bar exists in real life. It just doesn't have that name. It's in the exact same spot. And I went inside it and I was like, wow, it's actually incredible how much detail went into Yakuza. And as you progress through the series, you go from Kamurocho, which is based on Kabikucho,
yep,
to Sotenbori, which is based on Dotonbori,
mm,
and then you go to Yokohama, which Yokohama is just basically Yokohama. Like they didn't
yep,
really change anything around.
yep,
Um, in Yakuza Infinite Wealth, you go to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii before, but everyone that I've spoken to said, yeah, it's pretty much like they nailed it.
That is
So
pretty
yeah,
good.
they so much shit packed into a small area.
Yeah, that's. I think the dogs. Can you hear that? My dogs are
No, I
approving
can't
it.
hear it.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Only I can hear it. Thank God. Yeah, they're like wooing and stuff. My son just went outside to tend to his garden. So Ed, did you play through the Lost Judgment series? Like you finished those two? Because I
Yeah,
haven't started them yet. I didn't want to start them yet until
yeah.
I finished Yakuza, like the Yakuza games. I didn't want to start them yet in case it's spoiled or something. I don't know.
I want to play Judgment after Yakuza 6 because
Yep.
it's a direct continuation and it does reference things from those games.
Okay.
And then you want to play Lost Judgment after Yakuza 7, which is the first Ichiban game.
Yep.
But yeah, I played them both to completion. They're two of my favorite games. Judgment, Lost Judgment in particular has it's quite a dark story about like suicide and bullying in schools.
Yep.
And there's some really like touching moments in there, and I just love the way they set everything up because you get to go into a school and there's like a basketball court and you get to interact with the kids, and some of the sub stories are about children in Japan that are like being bullied, and Ichi and what's his name again, Yagami, he helps them out, or like there's a sub story with a head teacher that's finally had enough of these children.
Yep.
And his dark side comes out and he looks like Heihachi Mishima, and it's just like it's like comedy gold, but it's also it also goes into like alcohol abuse and like he's got problems at home with his wife, and there's just so much cool shit in that game that like you won't get bored.
You should do some live streams of it, man. You got to educate more people on the Yakuza.
When I'm playing Yakuza, I don't want nobody near me. Like I tell everybody in my house, don't bother me when I'm playing this game. The guys have told me to stream it loads of times. Like I can't because I won't talk to anyone. I'm gonna ignore the stream chat. I just like to lock in when I'm playing Yakuza.
Yeah. So and just listen, I think you said something a while back, but just to have them all, man. We got to have Dead Souls. We just gotta have Dead Souls, man. Like I know it was like a side spin-off, like, and it was interesting actually, just what they did. But there's a little bit of a soft spot for that because you know you got the zombies and stuff. It was an interesting take. Did you like it? Did you like playing it?
From a narrative standpoint, it's like because it's a complete spin-off. It's not even canon.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is goofy fun. Like it's stupid. The gameplay was. It was okay for the time. I don't think you can go back now and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was dumb fun. Like I enjoyed it at the time. I can't say that I would want it to come back unless they like remade it and they gave it a proper battle system.
Yep.
Kind of like Yakuza 3. Like I loved the Yakuza 3 story. It's a really, really beautifully done story, but the gameplay is very dated now. So
yeah,
they'd need to do an update like Kiwami 3, which I would buy instantly. Like I wouldn't even. There would be no like charge whatever you want. I'm locked in. I'm there for it.
With the so which was the one that they've released on Switch 2 that's getting the directors? Is it Zero?
Yeah, so yeah, Yakuza 0 is being like flamed by the Yakuza community right now. The one on Switch because without spoilering, they did something in the Switch version which is now being considered canon, which just basically shat all over a really touching story in the original version of it.
Yep.
And it's more of the new writers doing the dumb shit they've been doing since Yakuza 6 finished.
Yep.
So everyone was like, why did you do that? There was no need whatsoever. It was absolutely one of the dumbest decisions, and it could have like very, very negative implications on the series going forward. We don't know right now, but we'll see.
Yeah. So you don't feel compelled to even like try it out, play it, anything like that?
I've played it. I just want to buy it. Like
I
just don't. I mean, I'd like to own the physical copy of the director's cut, but I have a feeling, knowing Sega, they're gonna re-release it on PlayStation at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll probably come to Steam as well. So we're gonna. I need to talk about this. We need to talk about Deadly Alliance just a little bit. Because this fangirling that you have going on, I need deeper explanations, bro. I need to understand. Now I'm gonna ask this question, so hopefully it'll get answered in your explanation. But I have a feeling because Brady loves Deadly Alliance as well. He's really got that up there, and that was really surprising because he's like my age, and I thought his like real sort of deep love for MK, like even like a sort of competitive would be or gameplay would be in the old classic 2D ones, right? But the 3D one, that was surprising, and I thought to myself, was there a particular faction of MK fans that once Virtual Fighter and Tekken started coming out were sitting there going, you know what, I love MK, but I would really love it more if it was in a 3D world. Would that be fair to say with, say, guys like yourself and Brady, where it's like, yeah, I don't mind the 2D ones, but no, the 3D ones, this is the way I envision MK. So, yeah.
At the time, no. Like I just didn't like when I saw Deadly Alliance. I was like, "Whoa, what the hell is this? Is this like Tekken Mortal Kombat?"
Yeah.
I like it was never because I was too young to even be like, "Oh, maybe a 3D one would be cool."
Yeah.
It didn't even cross my mind. Um, I don't know if Brady thought that because Brady was big on Dead or Alive and he was big on Tekken 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe there was that thinking, but like for me and Tom like reaffirmed it. Deadly Alliance is the only Mortal Kombat game where everybody has tried to find things to break it and make it like an unviable game, and it's got nothing. It's like it's a proper, just straight hands fighting game. And even though it took away things that Mortal Kombat were known for, it's just such a brilliant fighting game. Like they've tried to break it for years. They've tried to like do what they did to Deception, which as a package, Deception is obviously better, but as a fighting game, as a pure fighting game, Deadly Alliance that was a mistake. There's no way that they did that on purpose. It's got so many high level mechanics that it even like makes like Melee look like a walk in the park sometimes. Like I've never seen a happy mistake like Deadly Alliance before.
Yeah, so when you say breaking, are we talking about things like infinites, characters that are too OP over someone else, that type of thing?
Yeah, like broken characters, glitches, infinites. It did have stages that had to be banned because you had like the acid stage where like, if you walked on the acid, your health would just disappear. But outside of that, there was nothing. Like it was like you pick a character in that game. And there was obviously top tiers, like Scorpion, I believe, was the best character in the game. Reptile was really good. I think Kenshi was pretty strong.
Yeah.
But you could pick a character and be like, oh, yeah, the game's not gonna cheese you to death. Like you're gonna have to poke your opponent, and there's not a massive emphasis on combos.
Yep.
They're there, but they don't do too much. Which I was like, this is great. This is like a proper neutral based slow paced fighting game. So it might feel alien to people that came from Trilogy and Ultimate Mortal Kombat, but if you just isolate Deadly Alliance, it's a once in a lifetime endeavor. They didn't mean to make it that good. That they don't even know half the shit they put in it.
Yeah, so what did they change? Do you know what they changed from Deception? Because obviously Deception doesn't have that same caliber of what you're describing. So did they actually then break stuff in Deception because of Deadly Alliance?
Yeah, well, Deception was the first one that brought in breakers, as far as I'm aware, and it was also there was so many stages in that game where it was like, man, you can't put this in a tournament.
Yep.
Or there were characters that had so many glitches. There was so much broken shit. I don't know if they intentionally removed any of the high level stuff or if they just coded the game in a way where they didn't even realize what they'd done.
Yep.
And then when they came to like change things up, it accidentally got removed because it was a happy accident.
Yep.
So it's one of those games where like, again, I don't think they knew what they were doing. I don't think they knew what they were selling us. And then when they came to do a follow-up, they probably thought they were like correcting things and then ended up just breaking the game. And they also added in like traditional MK stuff. Like I believe Scorpion got his teleport again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Deception's a ton of fun. It feels good. Like it's a fun fighting game. It's just super broken. There's massive discrepancies in the tier list. and there's so many glitches and so many like stages that you just can't play in a tournament that it will just piss people off.
Yeah. If they did a 3D collection, so here's the tricky part. If they did a 3D collection, would you want the games left as is and just have gentleman's rules to not use certain stages, certain mechanics, certain broken stuff? Like, for example, in Mortal Kombat, if you use Sonya in the original, she actually has an infinite like leg throw loop. So when you play online, people know, yeah, you can do the leg throw, but you can't just keep spamming it because otherwise you can't. There's literally no way to break it. So would you want the games in the 3D era to be added in completely unmolested, like unchanged whatsoever, but there's standing gentleman's rules to be like, no, you know, if you start using the infinite, that's it, you're out, you know, you can't use that stage. How would you do it? Or would you get it patched?
Well, because if they did a 3D collection, I would only be playing Deadly Alliance, so
Okay.
they don't need to touch the game. As far as I'm concerned, if they touch Deadly Alliance, they're gonna screw it up because it's a happy accident, so they don't even know what they're fixing.
Yep.
So if people wanted a patch for Deception, that would probably be justified because Deception is heavily broken.
Yep.
But for Deadly Alliance, no, you don't need to touch it. It stood the test of time. People still play it to this day. I have been in like Deadly Alliance forums. I don't see bitching in there at all.
Yep.
I'm just like, the game's been around for eons now, and people are still happy with it. So there's no need to patch it.
I wonder who they got to do that. Like you said, it was just like, you know, so would you put it up on the caliber of, say, something like a Virtual Fighter? You know, just this absolutely just, you know, almost that sort of like perfect level of martial art, like a almost like a true martial art type game, you know.
I don't know if I'd put it on level with Virtua Fighter because I do think the design in Virtua Fighter is obviously more deliberate and it's a lot more nuanced than Mortal Kombat. But I'd say for Mortal Kombat, it's their greatest endeavor, and I know that's like controversial because of all of the different errors.
Yeah.
But it's all of the errors. Everyone's favorite version of Mortal Kombat has broken shit in it. All of them do.
Yep.
So this one doesn't. So I would say that it's definitely up there as one of the best fighting games of all time. Is it on Virtua Fighter's level though? I don't think so. Virtua Fighter has been consistent year on year. So I'd say it definitely deserves its praise, but it's no Virtua Fighter.
Have you dabbled too much like in the 2D era of MK at all? Like, have you played a fair bit of it, or thoughts on it?
Yeah, my bulk of my 3D era, my 2D era was UMK3 and Trilogy.
Nice. Yep.
Those were the two that I played. I didn't play too much, I'll be honest with you. I played Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcades, and Sabi's got the arcade machine, so I've played it on there. And I played Mortal Kombat 1 on that arcade machine as well. I can't remember playing those two as kids.
Yep.
I only remember Trilogy and UMK3, so
Yep.
yeah, those are the ones that I remember. I just remember doing broken shit with Noob Saibot and thinking this is so unfair.
Which version did you play? N64 or PlayStation? For Trilogy?
PlayStation.
Oh, good boy. Thank you. Fucking like, oh, there's so many people like they go their first experience was N64 Trilogy, and it's like, shit. I mean, and that game even had like, because I was going through the move list the other day, and they added in combos that were not available anywhere else. Like the N64 actually got some characters got specific combos in that version, which was fucking wild. But at least I'm glad that you actually played that one. But it's going to be interesting actually, because I did see your comment. I think it was your live stream or something where you said that you were going to support the Legacy Collection, and that's pretty cool, man. You know, like it's good to. I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't. I'm just saying, like, but at the time you said that. But it's going to be interesting to see some of the younger folk loading up these older games and just tearing their hair out, trying to figure out the AI and stuff.
I'm not gonna sit and pretend because Sabi's got the arcade. Like I've got the Street Fighter one over here.
Oh yeah,
the 35th anniversary.
Nice.
And she's got the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade, it came packaged with a bunch of other games, and they're all on there.
Yep.
And I played it and I was like, yeah, I suck at these games. Like I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend. I've never practiced at them, so I don't know if I could actually get good at them.
Mm.
But as it stands right now, if I turned on UMK3, like I, anyone could beat me because I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm lost.
What characters did you gravitate to in Ultimate and Trilogy?
Always been Scorpion and Noob Saibot.
Nice. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Noob Saibot was a pest in Trilogy, but I like fighting against him because, you know, people always try and hit you with a ghost ball. And then, you know, if you get hit, they think it's an easy win, but then you just, you know, you can just run out of their teleport grabs and stuff. But it'll be interesting because they haven't announced Trilogy yet. I'm hoping they will. I know some people, I think, were disappointed with Steven's interview. They're like, why don't you ask about Trilogy? It's like, dude, he's not going to fucking say it. Like, there's no point asking the dude. You know, if they've got that in the wings, like say with MK Gold, they're not going to do it yet. They're keeping some secrets, to themselves. But I hope there's a 3D era, man. Because if they do a 3D era, I'm gonna be watching your reaction, right? I expect tears. I expect tears and everything, man. Right?
I'll be excited. You won't get tears out of me, but I'll be excited.
So now, if we could pivot just for a little bit, because obviously, like, well done with your channel, man. But you're also, I wanted to talk about this because I noticed this recently. Because obviously Moonsault Slayer came under fire for covering some news with what was happening in the Tekken scene. And like you and I are, obviously we've schooled controversy before. Does it ever bother you? You know, does it ever get to a point it's like, man, fucking need to take a break, or whatever. Like, how do you deal with the fact that, while we are caught in controversy, does it ever get to you? Do you ever feel like, there's too much negativity? Does that make sense?
No, I mean, like when I apologized to you, I'd say that situation got to me in the sense that I was disappointed in myself and how I behaved. But in terms of other people doing things to me, no. Like I look at them and I'm just like, this is so dumb. First of all, like I've taken the Asmongold approach to it. I'm just like, well, if you're gonna act stupid, I'm just gonna farm you for content then, and then we'll see who comes out looking dumb.
Yeah.
And I've become a very big advocate of let me invite this person to speak on stream.
Yep.
And most of the time they'll decline because they already know how the conversation is gonna go. And they'll just take it to Twitter where like I can't really defend myself on Twitter because it's Twitter. So if they want to drag you on Twitter, you just gotta kind of sit back and laugh at it. So the other day they did it, and I looked at the post and it had like 300,000 views of people just ripping into me, and I was like, I could get upset at this, or like I could show my friends and we could all have a laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then I'll make a video about it, and that was it. Like they can't get under my skin because I've got too many people around me. Like I've got a very big family.
Yep.
Like I've got my family here. I've got my family in Greece and Cyprus.
Yep.
Colombia, in Africa. Like I've got so many people around me that are that love me, and that people on Twitter like saying things about me. I'm just like, well, we'll make some content about it. We'll sit back and we'll laugh, and then we'll just keep it moving. Like it's never gotten to a point where I'm like, no, I need to take a step back from the internet, man. I can't take all of these comments.
Yep.
Which is why, like, I'm always like, let's go. I'm always on live streams. I'm like, let's talk on live stream. They always say no, and I'm like, well, that's a win for me. And then they leave me alone.
Yeah, I must admit on my end, like, and for my part in this whole fiasco with you as well, but also the MK news, like, just on a like covering game stuff. It's actually been just such a breath of fresh air to actually have something positive to talk about, with Mortal Kombat. And I hope, like, that's why, like, when you were talking about, I can hear that you're happy about Bleach, you're excited about Demon Slayer 2. And that's really cool, because, people think that we're negative for negative's sake, but we're not really. And that's sort of what I was following with a little bit with Moonslayer stuff. And I saw your comment to him, and it was a great comment, because, like, there's this weird sort of thing. It's like if you cover it in a YouTube video, you're somehow scum. Like you're just like you're a piece of shit, And it's such a weird thing. It's such a weird thing. I don't understand why people do that.
They do it because they're the ones that want to make the ad revenue, and they're seeing Moonsault Slayer doing it, and they're
Mm.
like, "Why is it not me?" And instead of just admitting the fact that they can't do it as
Yeah.
effectively as him, they just want to drag him. So
Yeah.
they all went on Twitter, made all their comments, they got their thousands of views and their followers up, but they made no money from it. Moonsault Slayer did the same thing but made money from it, and that is the big, that's the big discrepancy between the two.
Yeah.
Because if they believe what they're saying, they wouldn't engage with the drama. They would see, because initially when I saw it, I scrolled past it. I was like, oh, I'm not interested in this.
Yep.
And I kept scrolling. But the guy that posted it follows me, so his post popped back up on my feed.
Yep.
And it was only when I saw what they were doing to Moonslaw is when I decided I'm gonna defend him.
Yep.
Because I don't care if Austin Ash takes steroids. I don't know anything about steroids for me to be like, it did this to his reaction time or it did this. Like I wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, they just hated, man. Like Moonsault Slayer is a Tekken news channel.
Yeah.
So whether they like how he puts his information across or not, if something happens in Tekken, Moonsault Slayer will make a video about it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I don't know what the issue is with that. They don't have to like his content, but to make out like he's a cancer in the community when all they do is sit behind their anime profile pictures, pointing the fingers at other people that are vastly more successful than them. I'm just like, that's what I said to them. Like, just shut up, man. Like, you're just picking on the guy.
Yeah.
And I said to Moon as well, you've got 30,000 subscribers. There's people that are here to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you've got 5,000 or 50,000. Those are the people you need to worry about, not these bots on Twitter that are just repeating the same shit you hear all the time.
Yeah, I know. I think when we spoke last time, like, because we talked about True, and then I obviously had a really great conversation with True Underdog, and it was something that you said. It's like, well, you know, like his audience is obviously, you know, they love his presentation, right? So they're there for those videos, you know, whether it be the title, thumbnail, that sort of thing. He's figured out that audience and he's feeding them. He's giving him exactly what they're after. And I mentioned to him, I said, there's an MMO guy like that out there as well, you know, where he'll put like the big giant anime titties on the thumbnail, you know, he knows what he's doing, and yet people still watch it, right? And if they didn't want to watch it, then his channel would be dead, you know. So it's obviously, there can't be like 30, 40,000 people watching these videos that are all just brain dead. You know, there's obviously people that are willing to want to watch this and they know exactly what they're getting. But that was good standing up for him, because doing that is also, you know, that's sort of a whole YouTube thing where, like I said, you know, you cover stuff and they go, oh, they're a fucking YouTuber. What do they know? It's like, what? You know, like,
Yeah,
that's just, it's
doesn't make
dismissive.
any sense.
Yeah.
I look at my analytics now. I'm like, okay, well, does my audience like what I've covered? And like most of the time, my videos have like a 99% like ratio.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's just Twitter, man. Twitter just
Yeah.
loves taking something and dragging it. The ones that dragged me the other day admitted they didn't even watch the video. They just
Yeah.
saw the thumbnail and they started laughing. And I was like, the thumbnail's not even clickbait. That's what the video is about. But
Yeah.
I used loads of different points to make the point about the drama that was going on at the time. And I even got an old school player, Cobra Commander, to come on and talk about it. But because they're too fickle-brained to understand anything, they saw the thumbnail and they were just like, oh, here goes Mike again, farming views. And I was like, do you understand that when you post a YouTube video, you want people to watch it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, like, you think I want to post a video that gets 0 views? Like,
Yeah. Otherwise you just make it private. Like, why even bother making the video at all?
yeah, and it's not like the thumbnail was clickbait. I used the picture of the two people I was talking about, but in them, like, they were like, because it was such a big story at the time, I was just farming them. But then I said to them, so what do you want me to put on the thumbnail then?
Yeah.
If the thumbnail is about these two people, what do you want? And they didn't know how to answer it. They were like, oh, stop farming drama, Mike. I was like, shut up, man.
I remember, I can't remember, I think it was either your or my content. I remember reading one comment somewhere saying, there's something wrong with guys that use, like, yellow text in their thumbnails, and I'm like, dude, do you understand how, like, it works? Like, you know, you got to have these like identifying, like these colors are like they pop. You know, if it's clean, crisp, you know, depending on certain reds, it can start to look muddy. You know, so that way it's better to have white on red background rather than, you know, red text. You know, or you know, like I mean, I love editing and stuff, so it's kind of it's interesting, like, you know, designing the thumbnail and stuff like that. But I remember reading that comment, I'm like, fuck, this is the dumbest thing I've read this week. Like,
Yeah, I bet it was an anime profile picture, wasn't it?
but yeah, you know, it probably was. It probably was. I have no doubt. So, but the thing is, though, like you mentioned Asmongold, and like obviously, because I'm a World of Warcraft player, right? So I discovered him a long time ago, covering, you know, WoW guides for getting gold and stuff like that. Literally farming, right? And now I remember this one video he was talking about how he transitioned. He's like, well, you know, people, oh, he's just a React channel, and it's like, yeah, but like what people don't understand is that you're so you, me, whoever else, we're the center. Hopefully, we should be the center of attraction on the channel. They want to hear your opinion, you know. So they want to hear what you have to say about this content, rather, you know, you're not sitting there like, you know, maybe people like Hassan Piker that just sits there and probably offers no commentary whatsoever. They want to hear what you have to say, you know. And Asmon's like, yeah, I'll farm the show, because not only. But like, obviously he finds it interesting too. He's not doing it because he hates it, but his audience want to hear what Asmon has to say. They want to hear what Mike has to say or Fate has to say about this sort of stuff. And it is just what it is. But also you get to be a bit of a kingmaker as well. Like he covered this one chick. I think she had like a couple hundred subs, and now she's got like 100,000 because he watched one video.
Yeah, Asmongold's making careers out here.
Yeah, right. And, you know, it's kind of, I know it sounds like a weird thing, but back in the, I don't know how long you've been doing YouTube, but back in the old days, we used to have, like, you used to do obviously things like shout out videos, but you also had reaction videos that you could request to have pinned under your main video. So if you did a video and I did a reaction to it, I could essentially request to have my content be allowed to show up in thumbnails under your video. So when people watch your video, they go, oh, I can see his reaction to it and that reaction and that reaction. And of course, that all got taken away. So now it's almost like React content is a way to kind of, you know, in a way give shout outs. And I have been doing better with that too. Ever since, honestly, our talk, man, I've reevaluated a lot of things as well, which has been good, very good for me in terms of, like, you know, the brain. And so when I'm doing these React videos, you know, I'm not getting as agitated, you know. I'm trying to be a lot more grounded, you know, because they're just people, you know, like they're just sharing their opinion. And like every audience, you're going to get people that love your opinion, they love their opinion and stuff like that. But yeah, you're definitely getting out there, man. I saw something about you on Facebook or something. People were talking about Facebook. You on yeah, it was a while ago. There was a Facebook group that was talking about you. Yeah, I think you shared it on Twitter. So,
they couldn't stand me. I was like, what the fuck, Facebook? I haven't been on Facebook in years. Someone sent it to me and I was like, damn. There's like a whole thread with like thousands of comments and they were just like, fuck that Mike guy. I was like, shit, boy. That's crazy.
So what do you like the most about your content? Like, what do you love the most about your channel? Because I know you do tons of streams, tons of interviews. What do you like the most when it comes to doing the stuff?
I think the thing I like the most is interacting with the community that I've built.
Yeah.
Out of talking with everyone's great. Like we've really had a lot of fun on the streams, but interacting with strangers, and getting to know them and welcoming them into the community, is always the most fun. Like that was the reason why I kind of missed playing Tekken 8. It wasn't so much Tekken 8; it's that's where we built our community initially. So yeah, doing community stuff, like I do community giveaways. I've now started running a tournament on my channel where it's kind of like Pokemon but with different games. So last time we did Sparking Zero, and I put everyone's names in a roulette wheel and spun the wheel, and then if your name landed on Vegeta, like, okay, you're allocated Vegeta, and we had 16 people in the tournament. And then we would set the CPU to hardest, so you wouldn't play because not everyone had the game. And it would be like people in the chat were like, oh, they think Vegeta's gonna win, blah blah blah. And the guy that had the winning character or the winning CPU by the end would get a game voucher for like you know, any game that they want on PlayStation or on Steam. So
Yep.
I've really enjoyed doing that. I've just giveaways in general. I've enjoyed allowing people to come up and speak, because
Mm.
one thing that I noticed when I was watching content creators growing up is that it was kind of like their platform, and that was it.
Yep.
Like there was no room for their community to speak, and their chats would get lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
So one thing I want to do is when I do my podcast, I'm like, okay, now is the community section where you can come on and ask anyone a question.
Yep.
Can be anyone, I don't mind. Even when we were beefing and I had True Underdog, you popped up and I was like, yeah, jump on.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, like that's been the most fun. Like interacting with people is definitely the most fun part of it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was with True Underdog, like, because obviously this is just a 1v1, and depending on time, like, I have a little pop-up that people can request, you know, questions in the chat, as long as they're obviously, you know, above board. But yeah, with the Fate Chat one, I really wanted it to be just, you know, just a focus on the person that I'm talking to. You know, so when I was talking to Trent, it's like, yeah, man, just talk about whatever you want. You know, just, you know, go hard, just, you know, just explain things, because that way people get to understand and see more of the person, you know, rather than sort of like, you know, cutting them off, or people arguing over each other and stuff like that. But as far as your community goes, I just want to give a shout out to a special friend of yours called Urban Boy 732.
Oh my god, this guy. Fucking yesterday he crossed the line, and I said to him, "That's not cool, bro. Like you went too far." Because he uploaded a video which was really funny, a music video that everyone was commenting on.
Yep.
But then he uploaded another one that
Yep.
made me sound like a pedo. And I was
Oh
like,
shit. Okay. Yep. Yep.
I said to him, bro, like there's limits to things.
Yep.
And other people commenting saying you can't do that, bro. That's too much. He deleted the video.
Yep.
But yeah, his videos are funny. Like in general, I find them funny. I know that whatever I say, he's gonna cut it up and
Yep.
use AI and make me sound like a psycho. So the most recent one he's done seems to have gone viral, which is great.
That was catchy as fuck, man. Like, I was just, yeah, that was funny. You know, it's cool though. Like, you get people, like, in every community seems to have, like, you have the editor. You know, the person that's like, right, you know, they're farming you, right? They're gonna farm you and get you out there. But it's also kind of it's I don't know. It's sort of I don't know how you handle it, but like it's sort of I find it weird sometimes when sometimes people like put you on a pedestal. So for example, I remember, like, you know, like people might join the Discord and they kind of act a little starstruck, you know, because you make videos on YouTube, and it's like, listen, the difference between you and me is a webcam, you know, like that's it. Like, we're still the same people. I really struggle with that sort of, you know, attention. You know, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I do videos for, you know, to get views, but it's that sort of like, oh, you know, I love your content. It's like, yeah, I'm thankful, but do you ever get people like that where they go, oh man, I love your stuff or whatever, and you're just sitting there going, yeah, thank you, but dude, I'm just a dude. You know, I'm just a regular dude. You know, like, so.
Yeah, it's definitely it's very humbling to have people come up to you or notice you on the road, and like when it happens in person, I'm always like, oh boy, I don't know if this person's gonna jump me or shake my hand.
I haven't had that yet.
Literally, the
Thankfully.
other day, I was in an arcade with my friends. We were celebrating something. I can't remember. It was my friend's birthday, and we went to the arcade. And this tall black dude was walking down the stairs with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I looked at his girlfriend because she was quite pretty, but I looked at her, but I wasn't like trying anything. I just glanced over because there was a pretty girl coming into the arcades.
Yeah.
And then I like looked away, and he started walking over to me. So immediately I got defensive, and I saw my friend saw as well, and they sort of like we were all staring, and he was like, "I watch you on YouTube. Are you Mike Collar?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God, we were gonna get into a fight." Yeah, it is very nice. It was the weirdest experience for me was going to Japan and being in Fukuoka.
Yep.
And I was in a temple,
Yep.
like a random temple in the countryside. And this guy came over to me and was like, "Are you on YouTube?" And I was like, "No way!" Like in Fukuoka of all places, not even Tokyo.
Yep.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I haven't had anyone that's like, "Oh my God," like blah blah blah. Um, it's I, I don't know. Sometimes it's happened, but I don't think I paid. I just try to chat to people like normal. Like
Yeah.
I don't see myself as like a celebrity or
Mm.
something. I just talk about games on the internet and people watch it or hate watch it or whatever it is. Like
Mm.
I don't see myself I don't see myself as like super important where someone has to stop to like take a picture of me.
Yeah.
It's nice when they do. It's really really nice, but I yeah, I do find it. I find sometimes I find it weird because I'm in my own body when somebody is doing that. Like they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, can you come over here?" Blah blah blah.
Yep.
But most of the time, it's been very like not weird interactions. Like when I went to King J's thing, it was just like, "What's going on, man?" They'd shake
Yep.
my hand, keep it moving. Like it was never, "Oh, come over here, come over here." It's nothing like that.
Yep. Yeah. What was Japan like?
Japan's the greatest place that I've ever been in my life. Like
Yeah.
I want everything is better in Japan. When I say everything, I mean everything. Like
Yeah.
everything is better. People are more polite.
Mm.
Everyone's healthy because of the proportions that they eat are
Yep.
significantly smaller than ours. Their culture is really beautiful. They have this thing, I don't know what they call it, but it's like they don't do takeaways in Japan. They serve you your food and you finish the food, like you have to finish it.
Yep.
And it's because I think I don't know if it's to do with the samurai or to do with the war, but something about their ancestors um paving the way for them, and like people died of famine a long time ago, so out of respect, finish your food. And
Yep.
also we killed an animal to get this, so
Yep.
make
Yep.
sure you finish it.
Yep.
And everything's clean. It's such a peaceful place, and they're so respectful. And even when I went to clubs,
Yep.
the girls were still super respectful. The guys were a little bit harassy. I will say, like I
Mm.
did see a few guys where I was like, one of my friends, Zane, he's Sabi's younger brother.
Yep.
We were dancing with two Japanese girls and a Thai girl, but like we were just dancing in the same area. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't like what happens in the UK where everyone's grinding on each other. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It was like
Yep.
we were just dancing and enjoying the vibes together. And this dude comes out of nowhere and starts dancing right behind the Thai girl.
Yeah.
And I don't know, in Japan, like I don't know if the girls are like more timid or they can't say no, but she was clearly not interested.
Mm.
And this guy wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, what do I do now? I'm in a foreign country. If I start piping up as like a black dude in a Japanese club, this could get really techie.
Yep.
So my friend Zane he's just said fuck this, and he just pushed the guy and was like, stay away from her, blah blah blah.
Yep.
That was the only time where I was like, I didn't like that interaction. Other than that, all the dudes out there are like, they're super cool. The
Yep.
girls out there are really really polite. Food's amazing. There's arcades everywhere. The machines, the UFO catchers,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yep.
not scams in Japan. They actually work. Like I won loads of stuff in Japan, so that was great.
Yep.
Um, it's way way cheaper than London, way cheaper,
Yep.
and the nightlife is great. The
Mm.
nightlife is really good. I did not When I go out in London, I always have someone like pulling my hair, or like my tattoos on this arm have
Yep.
bumps on them from where they prick them,
Yep.
and you can feel the bump from the pattern. And I always have someone just grab my arm. I'm just
Mm.
like, but you don't get that in Japan. No, they would never do something like that. It's
Yeah.
like probably extremely disrespectful.
Yeah. So could you live there one day?
Oh, 1000%. I don't
Yeah.
know how feasible it would be because living there permanently, I don't know what you would need to go through.
Yep.
But I could get a digital nomad visa and be there for like 3 to 6 months at a time, and then come back and then go back. Yeah, no, I could definitely. I mean, I've learned to speak some of the language as well.
Yep.
I've got a Japanese tutor that I see every week.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, no, obviously I love anime. There's nothing about Japan that I would say is bad. I think like if you work there, you
Mm.
probably have a different perception of it, but I wouldn't work there. I would do my stuff in London and keep my stuff in London and take that with me to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like many years ago when that fucking one of the Paul brothers, he went over there to the I can't remember the name of the forest, the suicide forest, right? I think it was Logan Paul or Jake Paul. When I went over there acting ass, just being a complete dickhead. Um, but because of that, like I did a lot of research. I think they even brought out a movie about the suicide forest. And that's like there seems to be a lot of societal pressure too, I think, over there. And it's sad that that obviously people feel that there's no way out. Because they're such a wonderful people. I dated a Japanese girl once a long time ago, when I used to wait tables back in the day. The Japanese people were always the nicest. Even if you spoke like a couple of words, they just loved like a Western person saying something. They just thought it
Yeah.
was the coolest thing. But like I think one of the there seems to be a lot of pressure like with work over there, and that people feel like there's no way out, and obviously that's a place where people go, and that dude just made a fucking mockery of it. Like it's bad enough that these people feel like there's no way out, and then he goes, like, just does that sort of shit, and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
I've seen your comments on that
Um,
Johnny Somali guy as well, and that's the
oh
same kind
God.
of vibe as well. Just an absolute clown, just
Yeah.
disrespecting cultures and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Logan Paul at all. I don't like the Paul brothers in general.
Yep.
But Johnny Somali is like, I really hope that the Korean uh, lawmakers just lock him up for good. Apparently,
Yep.
he's gonna get 32 years, but we don't know yet.
Yep.
But he is a colossal piece of shit. Like, I can't say that I hate anyone that I've seen on YouTube. There's people that I don't like Hassan, for example.
Yep.
Just because he says crazy shit all
Yep.
the time, things that I think are really dangerous. But
Yep.
I can't sit here and say that I have hate in my heart for him
Yep.
because I feel like hate is a really, really strong emotion.
Yep.
When I look at Johnny Somali, I can feel the hate bubbling inside me. Like I
Mm.
cannot stand him. I feel like he has set race relations back 500 years between blacks and Asians, and I don't know why any country would allow him into
Mm.
their. At this point, his passport should be revoked. Just drop his ass off in North Korea and leave him there.
Yep. Yeah, they can sort him out for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Couldn't care less what happened to that guy. Like, honestly, I don't wish the worst on anyone, but if I heard something happen to him, I'd just shrug my shoulders and be like, well, he asked for it, so
Yeah. Is it all right to ask you about your faith? Is that okay?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because just like as Christians, I just sort of like have you always believed in God since you were young, or is it something that you found as you're older, or did you have I myself had a stint where I believed in other stuff and then came back to God. Where are you with that sort of thing, if you don't mind me asking?
I've always believed in God, but I've always questioned things. Like I still question things as well. When I was younger, I got christened Greek Orthodox.
Yep.
So all my family are all my brothers are Greek Orthodox,
Yep.
and I always liked it. Like I like the way Greeks do things in the church and that, but I always had questions. And I grew up in a very rough neighborhood where there was a woman who was walking home, and she was shot, and she managed to make her way to her home, but she died on the front porch as her family were like getting to open the door.
Yep.
And I remember hearing about that, and I was like, this woman went to church all the time. She gave to the community. No one has a bad word to say about her. If there was a God, how could he allow something like this to happen?
Mm.
And the guy that shot her, as far as I'm aware, he got away with it. I don't think anything came of it.
Mm.
Um, So I would see things going on around the world, and I'm like, why is it that I'm sitting here safe, but there's some kid on the other side of the planet that's being gassed right now, or people are being,
Mm,
assaulted, and it always bothered me because I was like, if there's a God, he should protect good people,
yep.
and he should reward good people. It shouldn't be a thing where I have to prove myself and die and then go to heaven.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gave me life. Do you mind like not getting me shot like at the same
Yeah.
time? That was always my mentality.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, um, it's still something that I struggle with. Like it annoys me when I see good people suffering,
Mm,
but I don't know what the correct question is to ask, or if there's even a question to ask.
yep.
It doesn't really make sense to me, but I do believe in God. I don't know if you could say I'm the most faithful person. Like I mean, I have my faith, but I think because I question things and I get annoyed by things so much that I don't know how harshly I will be judged when the time comes. But knowing that I would get to the gates and I'd still be like, I still got questions. Like I still have things that
Yeah. I actually think it's good to ask questions. I don't think God would be disapproving of that at all, to be honest. Um,
yeah.
I think almost every person of every probably faith out there has gotten to that point of going, well, how can God allow these sorts of things? And myself, like my summation is that obviously the ruler of this world is not God, it's the devil. So everything that we suffer with and all the bad things that can happen and our frailty and everything like that, we are like, this is a product of essentially the devil's work. But because of that, I guess you've probably heard the catchphrases, or you see the tweets and stuff on Twitter. It's like, oh, through suffering comes greatness, that sort of thing. But in reality, that's kind of true in a way. So even despite this fallen state, um, you know, we can still, our soul, we can be tested with that to see how pure, or not pure, but how true we can be. Kind of like Job in the Bible. I don't know if you know the story about Job, but he was tested by the devil, and God said, "Yep, off you go, do whatever you want to him, just don't kill him." And he did. Everything happened to that man, and he still held his faith. And I always like that story because the creator of everything stood in heaven beside you and said, "This man will not falter in his faith." And I that's such a powerful message, that when you go through stuff, the creator of the universe is on our, he's on our side. But I think it's healthy to ask questions. You don't want to be a sheep. You don't want to just be blind to just believing anything that's being said. Question everything, because I think that deepens your faith, man. I really do.
Yeah, like I still don't like the idea of people having to suffer to prove themselves. It still doesn't make sense to me. Like I just don't, especially when you see children, like women and children, like having things happen to them. Because obviously you see it on Twitter all the time, and everything that's going on in like Palestine right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Israel and Iran, and I'm just like, the governments collectively, like I think they're all like idiots, but
Yeah.
the people on the ground that
Yeah.
are being made to suffer, I'm always watching it like, if there is a like an if there is a God out there and like he's all loving, I'm like, there's literally a video I saw today. I'm not even gonna repeat what I saw, but it was so barbaric,
Mm,
and people were watching it happen, and this person was screaming for ages while it's happening, and people are just watching,
yeah.
and I was like, I was sitting there like, I was just perplexed. I was like, how, like, this doesn't make any sense to me. It's so disgusting to view. Like I could imagine being like having superpowers and seeing that and just being like, fuck this, man. Like I'm flying
Mm,
over there immediately and taking care of these people. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think human beings can comprehend what God is like.
Yeah.
Like to fully understand God as a concept. I don't think we have the capacity to do that.
Mm,
And that's probably why I'm like, why does this happen? And why does that happen? There probably is an answer.
mm,
I just don't like what I'm seeing. But I'm still Greek Orthodox. I'm still Christian. I still believe there's a God. I'm just not happy with everything.
yeah. I guess I'm one of the things that helped me, because obviously God, we refer to him as the Father. You know, he's the creator, right? And I'm a father, so you know, one of the things that really helped me realize, you know, what it must be like is that, well, you know, when my daughter got diagnosed, right, with her illness, I couldn't do anything about it, right? Like I couldn't do anything about it. But then I'm not God, right? So I don't have the ability to be able to turn that off or cure her. But because I guess there's a bunch of things. Because the universe, like, there obviously has to be balances, there have to be checks and balances. There's a law, there's a system in place, there's a process of things that need to happen, right? So, you know, if like if as God, and he sees all his children and what they're going through, but he also realizes, which is something that we all struggle with, is that we are eternal, right? So, you know, our soul is eternal. We might die physically, but we are eternal. But as human beings, we struggle with that because we think that this is it. Once we go, how do we know there's another side? We don't have anyone coming back and going, yeah, hey, heaven's great. Don't worry, bros, it's all good. We don't have that. And I don't think we were ever, I think we were meant to always know about God's existence. And I think the world has done a pretty good job at hiding and poisoning Christianity, you know, and keeping God from our hearts. That's my belief. So, you know, the creator knows that we're eternal. He knows that, you know, and from my perspective, while my daughter was scared, right? And whatnot, I knew that she was going to be okay. Like, I knew that, like, once they figured out what was wrong, I knew she was going to be okay. Or an easier example would be, you know, if you've got younger brother, possibly, you got a younger, yeah. So imagine he breaks his leg, right? And you go, oh my God, like this is horrible, but you know he's going to be okay. You know he's going to be okay, even though he's in pain. You know, even though he may need to have an operation, you know, in your heart, you know 100% that he's going to be all right. That's how I see God with us. So despite what we go through and how horrific it is, he knows that, you know, we are eternal and that this tiny chapter that we're all suffering through is not going to be the end. I'm probably not explaining that the right way, and it'll probably take a lot longer to do that. But
I get your sense.
it's like you know your brother's going to be all right. You know it, even though he's terrified, even though he's scared. Am I going to lose my leg? You know, am I going to have a limp? You know, blah blah blah. But you know, you're fine. You're going to be okay. You need to have faith, and that's kind of how I feel with that. Doesn't mean to say it makes it easy. Doesn't mean to say that we don't have our fears and worries and all that sort of stuff. But that's why I commend you for asking questions, because ask the hard questions, dude. Ask them. You know, dig as deep as you need to get to that answer that you feel like, that settles with me. Because I did that and it helped me a lot. You know, it really did. Kind of blackpilled me a little bit, because you realize how bad things are. But you also know that it's sort of, you know, it's also going to come to an end. And there's that funny meme on Twitter. It's the guy, he's starting to do push-ups, and he's like, when I suddenly realize I'll get a whole new body when I go to heaven. And so he then just lays down and goes to sleep. Right? Because he's going to get, you know, he doesn't need to worry about it. But yeah, I think, I understand, man. I do, you know, because you're what, 30 odd, give or take. You know, yeah. So, you know, by the time I got to my 40s, I started looking at things differently. You know, things kind of, it's weird. It is weird. Like, once you get to your 40s, things kind of, you get really big in perspectives. But I think you're kind of there already, mentally. You know, having good family with you, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I think, like, one thing that I've changed about myself in the last, I'd say, like, when I hit 30, is that, like, I think I think all boys are like this. Most boys and men are like this, where they're just concerned with themselves and like living for themselves and partying and, you know, doing whatever you want to do, buying a nice car, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now, like, I enjoy it much more now. Is like living for other people, like living to make somebody else's life better. and I find that to be a lot more rewarding
Yeah.
when I'm not. I don't really do much for myself. Like if you've ever watched me on YouTube way back in the day, to now, the only thing that you'll ever see really changing on me is my tattoos. Like
Mm.
that's it. I don't really go shopping much for myself. I've got like enough tops and that. I just wear the same ones, but I'll take my sister shopping,
Yeah.
or I won't really buy myself stuff. And when
Mm.
I do get free stuff, I'll give it to the community.
Yeah.
Or just that I find joy in like doing stuff for other people now, and I think it's better to live. I think it's better to. I think serving people is like one of the best things you can do. Like actually making other people's lives better is is the way that I enjoy living my life. Especially when I listen to these celebrities like Lil Nas X, and he's saying stuff like, fuck your kids, man. Like, I don't care about them. I ain't got a responsibility to them. I'll just put out whatever
Yeah.
music or like demonic shit. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
So, I think that's partly why when I sat and I thought about the beef that we had, I started to be like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't who I am, but it's what I've projected onto the internet.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't know if that's like God related, but
I
that's
think
definitely something that I've changed with myself.
I think so. I mean, you know, yeah, I think, you know, you're thinking of others, you know, wanting to make sure they're okay and stuff like that. I think that's part of it. 100%. Yeah. You know, yeah, so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's more fulfilling. I mean, maybe selfishly, I have more fun doing this. Like selfishly, I enjoy watching other people have a good time. Um, like there was a girl the other day. I was in Hypnotic Stream. He invited me onto a stream, and we were just sitting there chatting. And I saw this comment pop up, and they were like, "This girl has a dog, and the dog's like not in good shape at
Mm.
all." And I remember my first dog, Bella, died, and we couldn't save her. Like I just didn't know what was wrong with her. The vets didn't know what was wrong, and within 2 days she was dead.
Mm.
And I saw the comment, and they were like, if anyone can go to her stream and donate. So I don't know who the girl is. I have no idea. I've never seen her before. I have no idea what she looks like. I think she's like a VTuber or something.
Yep.
And I saw her donation go, and I was like, I'll cover the rest.
Yep.
And I'll cover it. I'll say hello, whatever, and I'll go about my business. And that made me selfishly. That made me feel good because I was like, if her dog survives, it's because I helped.
Mm.
Part of the reason because I helped. So I don't know if it's like a selfish thing where I'm doing it for some sort of sense of fulfillment, but I enjoyed like seeing how happy she got
Mm.
when I gave her the money because she was just sitting there playing a game asking people to donate. You know,
Yep.
there was quite a bit left on there, and when I donated to her, she was like so over the moon. I was like, that's made my evening. I'm
Yeah.
quite happy to part with the money to know that it's gonna go to something better.
Yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, I can understand why you're saying like, oh, well, maybe it's a selfish thing, but I think that's kind of how, like, you know, society kind of programs us. It's like if we do anything, even for ourselves, even at the betterment of somebody else, it's like, oh, but are you being a, you know, are you still being a bad person? No, you're just being kind. That's it.
Yeah.
You're being kind. Was Jesus selfish because he helped people? Absolutely not. He was just helping people because he wanted to. And that's great. You know, you know, I'm kind of the same. I don't really do much for myself either. You know, but I love making my kids happy and those I love happy. You know, you know, even if it's like, I might be broke for a little bit, but that's all right because, you know, it's made them happy. You know, and I love that. You know, I don't know if it's because I didn't have that much growing up, but you know, if I can do something, I will. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think men are called to and obligated to look after other people. Like that's how the men in my family are.
Mm.
Like especially on the Greek side. I don't know the African side too well, but on the Greek side, it's like you have to look after your family.
Yeah.
And by extension, look after your friends that you consider family, and like by extension, like I guess the YouTube community or whatever.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't. Obviously, I butt heads with people, as we know, but I try to go out of my way to build bridges. There's some people you can't build bridges with, unfortunately.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's always been my main goal. Like when I made the Akira Toriyama tribute video, my
Mm.
main thing in that was like I loved watching Dragon Ball. I loved watching Goku in particular because he always found a way to like build some sort of bridge or like mend a fence after he's just finished like beating the tar out of somebody.
Yep.
Then he's like, let's be friends, and they'd be his friend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good actually. It's surprising. Like it's sort of like Dragon Ball, like the characters like Goku seem to be very much a you know, kind of like maybe your generation, kind of like the anime kind of like good, like a good male role model. You know, when I was younger, it was always like He-Man and Optimus Prime. You know, where like because I didn't have a dad growing up at all, he like pissed off when I was like 18 months old. So you know, it was these male role models that you were getting through these shows and talking about good morals at the end of the show. You know, how to treat people, be nice, be thoughtful, that sort of thing, and the way they conducted themselves. You know, you know that was good. It was wholesome. And it sounds like that is the same thing with obviously the character of Goku. That even if you get into the fisticuffs, you know, it's like it's kind of it's such a. I was thinking this the other day. It was like you're like our beef was like Batman versus Superman, right? It was you know like the movie. It's like they had these two perspectives that like were so convinced of say one another. And I'll be happy to say I was completely wrong about you, 100%. And you know what? I'd much rather be wrong about someone than be right. You know, and that sounds like Goku with the mending bridges thing. And you've obviously done, obviously not just with me, but you reached out with people like True Underdog and others as well. And that's cool, man. You know, it's always good like when everything's like everyone seems to be getting along rather than all the all the anger and the anxiety and stuff like that. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
Yeah, I know that I've got like I acknowledge that I've got a very ugly side of my personality. When I get in a mood about things or like when I get something in my head, um, I definitely have definitely got a side of me that is not good that I try to not bring out on YouTube because I don't want to be somebody that maybe someone watches me. There's a couple of people that watch me and they send me messages and they're like, thank you for doing a live stream today. It got me through the day or whatever. And I don't want them to watch me and see this like ugly version of me. But unfortunately, like I was raised by a woman that has a horrible temper, and some of that rubbed off from me. So when I get into a mood, it takes a while to get me out of it. But for the most part, like there's very few people where I would say that they're like an enemy on YouTube now. Like most of the time, there'll be a beef. Like even with Blackheart. Blackheart started off as an enemy.
Okay.
He called me names. I called him names. I went into his stream. He started cussing me. I don't even know what happened, but
Yeah.
we started to get on, and then I started having him on my live streams. I think one of the only people, other than some of the people on Twitter, that I've not spoken to a single time since we had our little minor beef was Booty Hunter.
Oh yeah.
I've not spoken to him once since then. But I don't get the sense that Booty Hunter is the kind of guy that's very forgiving based on what I've seen from his messages, which is fine. Like my brother's like that as well. Once someone upsets him, he never forgives them.
Yep. Yeah, I listen, man. I mean, I don't think anyone put us on the cards, you know, getting along or squashing anything. So, you know, I think if that's possible, almost anything is possible at this point. But I actually wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, do you have any particular, like I don't have any tattoos myself. I'm not a big fan of needles, to be honest. But do you have any sort of, is there a particular symbolism with the designs or anything that you went with your tattoos?
Yeah, like when I was younger, because I got these done ages ago, I was like proper. I was like obsessed with like the Samoan wrestling dynasty and their culture,
Yep.
and I wanted to get something that like symbolized strength and power.
Yep.
And when I went and spoke to the tattoo artist, I said to him, I want my tattoo design to represent that,
Yep.
and he just got to it. Like I had the idea in my head, and he helped me put everything
Yep.
together. And there's another tattoo design that I have that I haven't got around to doing yet, and it's like Irozemi. So I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but those designs are supposed to represent like being grounded,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and would like represent my star sign. Even though I'm not really big on star signs, my star signs are Taurus, and they're supposed to be grounded individuals.
yeah,
So the Irozemi is supposed to be based around that. So I didn't want to get like a dragon or whatever because everyone's got those.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know how the design is gonna come out yet. I haven't put it all together. I don't want it to just look like a Taurus. So I need to get my chest finished because there's still another design they need to put on here, and they need to put it on my back. Um, so that should be I should be getting that done soon. But
Yep.
yeah, my tattoo they were supposed to represent going forward and being strong.
Mm, yeah. Did you get your whole sleeve done on your right arm in one go, or did they do it in piecemeal?
No, it was in two pieces. Like this one was two as well. This one's not finished yet either.
Yep.
And this one was here first, and then here, and then my chest. And they did some of my back at the same time.
Yep. What was the most painful one? Which
When they went in the middle of my chest.
Oh,
'Cause,
it's
you
on the
don't have
sternum. Yep.
yeah, you don't have much fat there at all.
Yep.
There's nothing to really protect you, and my yeah, it felt like I was being stabbed when he did it. Like
Yep.
I felt like I was being stabbed, and it felt like it was in my teeth for some reason. So it was, and he's got to connect it now to my back. So
Yep.
I think I'll never forget that pain. I've been jumped before. Like I've been hit with a bat. My head has gone through a window where I've got this scar on my nose.
Oh shit.
All of those things pale in comparison to what he did on that day. It was so painful that I told him, give me a face mask because I don't want you to look at my face whilst I'm doing this because I was pulling the dumbest faces. It was the worst pain. I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah, I think I've heard like there's parts of like the hand maybe like coming across like these parts in here like again where there's no fat where they literally just like right on top of the bone.
Yeah.
Because a friend of the family like she's gotten a fair bit of tattoos done. And the tattoo artist he won't do tattoos on the fingers. He says because they're just rubbish. Like eventually they just fade too fast and it's just too much work like topping them up.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were pretty good. But she described it as like it's almost like having a bad sunburn, afterwards. So it's like when you get a really bad sunburn, you touch it, it's like so hypersensitive. I don't know. Would you say it's like that? Like after, like once it's all done, the following days?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It feels like you're both on fire and at sub-zero temperatures. Like it's such an odd feeling. And yeah, when you go to put cream on it and you touch it, it
Yep.
feels like it's burning.
Yep.
It's a really, really weird sensation. And obviously because of the way I got mine done, my arm inflated out. So there's a picture of my arm
Yep.
next to this arm. When it happened, this arm looked gigantic. Like it looked like Popeye's arm. And it didn't help that because I haven't got sensitive skin, which I don't think it helped much because I didn't bleed at all.
Okay. Yep.
And I think with the way they did it, he was probably expecting a little bit of blood, and there was absolutely nothing. And I don't know if that added to the swelling or whatever, but
Yep.
I felt every single thing he did. I could feel it. I don't wish that on anyone.
Yeah, I don't know if people should get stoned or drunk when they go get tattoos, but maybe there's a reason why they do. So so that they don't feel it. I
Like,
don't know.
it's part of the process. It's also, I think it's because there's so many Samoans and people from that part of the world that go through this
Yep.
that I think it would be disrespectful to not just sit there
Yep.
and do it properly.
Yep.
And they did ask me. They have this spray that can numb your arm somewhat,
Mm.
and I just said to them, nah.
Mm.
I'd rather just. In hindsight, I'm like, why did I say yes? But I'm also like, I can't disrespect the culture like that.
Yeah. So now just recently I saw your glowing review of Jurassic Park. But I have noticed you are a theater buff. which is pretty cool to see. That people are still going to movies. It seems like you love doing it. Do you go regularly or?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've all got cinema cards in the house,
Yep.
and my friends have all got cinema cards, and we've got a local cinema here. So whenever something's on, we'll go and watch it because it's literally like a 5 minute drive.
Nice.
And yeah, like because I'm very opinionated, that also extends to movies. And Jurassic Park was like one of my favorite franchises growing up.
Yep.
Like I love the original trilogy,
Yep.
but Jurassic World, I'm just like, it's blatantly a cash grab. Like they're putting things in there so they can sell merchandise. They're trying to be the MCU as well, and they have stupid, quirky characters in there.
Mm.
They've got situations that don't make any sense. And then this one was like, I took my mom to watch it because she really, really likes Jurassic Park.
Yep.
I said to mom, okay, I'll take you to watch it. And even she said she looked at me at the end of the film and she was like, "That's shit." And I was like, if my mom, who likes everything, is saying that this is shit, then the film is terrible.
Yeah, I still remember seeing the original Jurassic Park in cinema. That was an experience, man. Because there was nothing like it. Like they hadn't
Yeah.
done anything like that before. And I still remember seeing that. It was kind of like Twister as well, where you'd never really seen anything of like because I love tornado shit. So seeing something like that in the cinema was crazy. But do you have any favorite movies, like things that you're like, nah, that, yep, every time somebody asks you, you go, yep, they're my favorite ones that I love, just no matter what, you could watch them anytime, never get bored.
But my favorite movie franchise is Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, cool. Yep.
I can watch that over and over and over again. Tom Cruise, next to Jackie Chan and Denzel, are my favorite actors.
Nice.
So anything with Denzel Washington or Jackie Chan, I would have seen it, and I can't say anything bad about any of their films, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Some of my favorite films, Terminator 2 is probably still the best action film ever made, I think.
Yep.
I was a big fan of 300. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yep.
I think Back to the Future is a great movie. The Mummy and The Mummy Returns
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
great films.
Yeah.
I like a lot of like the 90s and early 2000s films, or late 80s.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not I feel like Hollywood has lost its way, and there's just a lot of shit that comes out. Because I remember in like the mid 2010s, like there was some really cool things coming out. Like Law Abiding Citizen was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was insane. Yeah, very intense movie.
Yeah, The Departed, Pearl Harbor was good, or Black Hawk Down.
Yep.
Like I like war films as well. Like I'm really big on war films.
Yep.
I watched the French. I don't know if it was French or German, and it basically showed, it was the perspective of the Nazis and how German kids were like indoctrinated and sent out to war thinking that there was going to be this cool thing with all their boys, and they got out
Yep.
there and it's like the most horrific thing they've ever been through.
Yep.
And the film was super graphic, like really depressing to watch, because there's a fight. Funnily enough, it felt like life imitated art, because there was a video going around on Twitter of a Ukrainian and Russian soldier fighting to the death.
Yep.
And at the end of it, the Ukrainian soldier says to him, "You were the best fighter that I've ever fought, and you're my friend." And the Russian soldier sort of acknowledges him before he kills him.
Yep.
And in this film that I watched, they're fighting in the trenches, and they realize that they're like, we would be friends if it wasn't for our government. But then they quickly remember, but we're at war. And it's this really depressing scene where you're just watching these two guys who probably would have gone out for a drink otherwise, kill each other. So yeah, I've always been a fan of war films. My dad got me into them because I was very, very invested in like the Second World War and learning about it. And obviously controversial subject, but yeah, they've always interested me.
Yeah, I've always loved like war movies as well. And also like different, like obviously like offshoot war movies, like where you get things like because we don't get like the period sort of pieces anymore, like Gladiator, Troy, Kingdom of Heaven. We're not really getting that. I tried watching Napoleon and fucking fell asleep. Like it was just so boring. But I can go back and I can watch like so Kingdom of Heaven. If you've never watched it,
I've seen it.
have you watched the director's cut?
No, I don't think so. I watched Kingdom of Heaven on those Chinese DVDs. You know, when you used to find the Chinese dude, my dad found this
Yeah.
Chinese dude in the area, and he got Kingdom of Heaven from him. So
Yeah.
I watched it on like a shaky camera. I've never
Oh,
seen
okay.
it properly.
So, my humble request is that you watch Kingdom of Heaven director's cut, because obviously like Ridley Scott, he brought out Gladiator, which was fucking phenomenal movie. And then when they advertised Kingdom of Heaven, they advertised it in the same vein of it kind of being like a Gladiator, you know, lots of action and stuff. But the problem with Kingdom of Heaven is that it's a lot more drama based, you know. So you get action, but it's nowhere near as much. And the director's cut is the absolute pinnacle like version of the film. It fleshes out so much shit in there. And I won't spoil it for you because like if you are, you know, it sounds like you're a movie buff, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a long film. But it's phenomenal. Like, you know, Liam Neeson's obviously amazing in it, Orlando Bloom. You know, it's just the director's cut for that is probably one of my favorite sort of like, you know, sort of like ancient war type, you know, movies. Same with Troy. Even Troy, the director's cut of that was far better, you know, because it just added more, you know, more nuance to the story. You know, like so you said you love Terminator 2. Well, the director's cut of Terminator 2 is fucking phenomenal. You know, because of all the extra stuff in there. You know, they showed that scene where they're pulling out the chip out of you know, the Terminator's head. You know, all that sort of stuff, which was never in the original theatrical cut. And Aliens is another example of a great director's cut as well. You know, where it just adds so much more stuff, and we don't get shit like that. One thing I've done like with my son is like when he was old enough, I started showing him movies like you remember Commando with Schwarzenegger? Yep. And we're sitting there, and I said, by the way, that building just blew up. That's not CGI. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. They blew shit up. They flipped the cars. You know, like this was all done. And he goes, you know, this stuff feels so real. It feels really visceral because they're reacting to stuff in real time, not just to a ball on a stick with a green screen behind them. And you're right. We don't get that level of just awesomeness anymore. Oh, it's kind of sad, but
I mean,
yeah.
You could also see it in Jurassic World. Like I put on Jurassic Lost World yesterday, which at the time was like controversial, but I think people really like it now.
I love that
but
one.
The dinosaurs, they look like they're actually there.
Yeah.
And then when I look at the behind the scenes, I'm like, they were using like robotics and stuff, and it made it look real. But when you watch Jurassic World, I was like, this looks like a PS4 game. Like it doesn't look real. It doesn't feel like they care.
Yeah.
And you can really feel in a lot of these films that come out these days now that it's just a cash grab. There's no love and attention put into it. Everything's trying to be like the MCU, and even the MCU can't even replicate its own magic at this point. And it's just a bit like I'm really hoping that Superman is good because, like Goku, Superman was my guy growing up. Like I had Superman bed sheets, I had Superman tops. I've still got a sealed Superman figurine. I've got action comics that I've never even opened before just because I wanted to keep them preserved. I've got a Superman collector's edition card from I think it was like it's a replica of like Action Comics 7 or something, like from the 50s or the 60s. And so I loved Superman growing up. Like, he's my guy. I still love Superman. So I loved Man of Steel. I thought it was really, really good. I don't mind that take on him. Obviously, my ideal Superman is the Superman from the animated series, because I just felt like that blended together all my favorite parts of Superman. Like it was kind of funny at times, but also he had his serious moments, and he was still standing up for the little guy. And it wasn't all about his powers, because if it is all about Superman's powers, and he just crushes everyone. And one of my favorite comics was I don't remember what the name of the comic was, but it was him talking this girl out of taking her own life, and the whole comic he just sat on the roof of her talking to her and telling her why she shouldn't take her own life, and it was so well written. So I'm hoping that they do him justice in this film because I'm
Yep.
just like I can't deal with another Hollywood slot piece.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask this because like are you a fan of pre-MCU Marvel movies like the two Punisher so the three Punisher films that came out with Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane and Ray Stevenson? Are you a fan of Blade? Hulk, Incredible Hulk. I think the Incredible Hulk tied into MCU. But did you like pre-MCU Marvel stuff? Ghost Rider as another example as well.
Yeah, the Spider-Man films pre-MCU are still my favorite superhero films.
Yep.
Blade 1 and 2 are outstanding films. Blade 3 is a bit it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
The Punisher films were okay. Like I thought they were all right. I didn't think they were amazing. I definitely think what they're doing with Punisher now is better.
Mm.
Definitely more faithful to the character. Didn't like the Hulk film that was not associated to the MCU. I think the Incredible Hulk with Abomination was actually really good.
Yeah.
And that version of the Hulk is still my favorite over whatever the dumb shit is. Whatever they did to Hulk now is terrible. I hate it. I hope they regret it.
Soy Hulk.
After
Yeah.
Thanos beat the fuck out of him, he lost himself. Like he's never been the same. But yeah, pre MCU there were some really good Marvel films for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like going back and like watching some of those. I mean, shit, we had Daredevil with Ben Affleck. We had what was the chick's name? Oh, I can't think of the. You know, she wields the side. Elektra. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I mean, yeah, some of them were a bit dinky, but there was some. I don't know. There was again. There's this. It's hard to describe. There's a charm. There's something that feels like it's not touched by any sort of like agenda. I mean, shit, man. With the 4th of July rolling around, hell, I was about to load up Independence Day, you know, because somebody posted the clip of Bill Pullman doing his speech at the end before they go off and fight the aliens, and I'm like, I remember watching that in an I don't know if they have it in the UK, but in Australia we'd have like like movie marathons. So you take your pillows, your blankets, you know, and you get rugged up in the seat and you sit there and you watch like 3 films after the other, like all through the night in the cinema. And I remember it was Independence Day, Alien, and then Predator, and that was the first time seeing Independence Day, and holy shit, like that was amazing. Like it was so fucking good. It was so good, man.
The films in the 80s and the 90s were made with love, and they weren't afraid to experiment and try new things.
Mm.
And I mean, like I was watching Back to the Future the other day, and I was like, this is just you can't recreate magic like that.
Yeah.
I like when they try to recreate it, it just doesn't work because we just don't live in that time anymore, where there was a lot more wonder and people were a lot more inspired, and there wasn't so much need to please certain groups of people or have people represented. It was just we're going to tell a good story. It was going to be self-contained, and that was it.
Yeah.
We were going to move on and do something else. So if we were going to do a sequel, it was going to try to carry that magic over. Like even some of the horror films that I watched from back in the day, like I watched Carrie again.
Oh, yep.
And it's not scary, but it's just a good film. Like I enjoy watching it. I watched The Amityville House. I watched The Shining, and I'm not scared of them. Like there are some horrors that come out now where I'm like, I think they do a decent job of scaring you or trying to scare you. They're getting back to a point where they're trying to be scary again.
Yep.
But they don't have the charm of the 90s or the 80s. Like even the cameras that they used back then, and the fact that it wasn't like modern technology where everything looked crisp and clean.
Yeah.
The unclean look on 80s and 90s films is part of their charm. Like when you watch Home Alone.
Yeah.
If you upscale Home Alone to like 4K and it's all clean, it loses a bit of itself when you do that.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually the other day, man. Like I miss film. You know, now it's all digital and it looks too clean. There's no there's no life attached to it. You know, there's no sort of like, you know, I remember old films where you even get like when the film would change, like the reel would change, and you see those little burn marks, you know, or the
Yeah.
flickering, you know, like we just shit, we don't have that anymore, man. It's good though that you're watching it. It's good that you're actually watching that sort of stuff, because
Yeah,
then
I mean, I grew up on that stuff because I
yeah,
was born in '92, so a lot of the stuff from the '80s was still being shown on TV.
nice,
And obviously, because of my mum being like a sucker for like old things like Wizard of Oz and all that,
yep,
it was very normal for me to like have seen that stuff as a kid.
yep,
So I always had that frame of reference. Like I watched, I remember when I was a kid and I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
yep,
And I think about that movie sometimes. I'm like, if they brought that shit out now, I would laugh. I'd be like, I'm not watching this.
yep,
But it's because back then there was never a like, oh, we're gonna do a Honey I Shrunk the Kids. The dad's gonna be black, the kids are gonna be Latino, and the mother's gonna be Asian
yep,
because we need to fit a diversity quota. And
yep,
if they were, nobody was thinking about that. It was just like, oh, these are just like some cool actors, and the film was just cool.
yeah,
But now everything feels like it has an agenda and it has like a hidden meaning, and it was to satisfy a group of people that are not even gonna watch the film.
mm,
And I feel like the dumb concepts now they should be supported because it's Hollywood trying to step out of their box. But I'm always like I ain't gonna watch that because I know it's gonna be some nonsense. It's gonna have something to do with depending on who made it. They're either gonna make a dumb joke about Trump or they're gonna make a dumb joke about Biden,
yep.
and it's not gonna feel like a self-contained joke. It's gonna feel like they're making a joke of the audience. And I've gotten tired of those things now. Even when I read comics and I see it, I'm like, don't.
It's
I'm tapping out.
it
Marvel
is
comics have gone down the drain lately.
it is also tiresome. I wanted to ask you. This is kind of like a switch up because I know you're a fan of wrestling, but are you a fan of sort of any other sports? Did you play of any sports growing up? Because I know obviously I'm a massive cricket fan, so I know cricket's big in the UK, but you know, motorsports, anything like that, you know.
Yeah, so well, I mean, I grew up doing. My mum took me to Shotokan karate, where I got up to my brown belt.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
So
high, man. Yeah,
yeah, I practiced it for a long time. I've got some of the certificates here. And they're buried under here, but yeah, like I've got I don't know if you can see this. I've still got some of my Shotokan
oh
certificates.
nice, excellent, yeah,
Um,
cool, yeah,
yeah, so I got them, and then I moved on to doing. I did Taekwondo and I didn't like it, so I went on to do Muay Thai.
yep,
So I've always like really enjoyed doing combat. More recently, I've done jiu-jitsu. So obviously, I watch UFC and I watch
yep,
boxing, and I've got group chats where me and my friends follow them quite religiously.
yep,
Other sports, I grew up watching motorsports. Like World Rally Championship was my one of my dad's favorite things.
yep,
Formula One,
nice.
MotoGP. My dad was a go-karting champion here and in Uganda, and he was a motocross champion. So
Really?
he,
Fucking hell, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, he was a three-time back-to-back champion in Uganda for motocross, and
Yep,
then he came over here and he won quite a lot of go-karting championships.
yep,
And then he met my mum, and he slowed down, started going on dates, like not paying attention to his career, and then
yep,
just let it go. He probably could have been something in the world of motorsport if he
yep.
pursued it. But he always enjoyed watching it. So I grew up in the David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher.
Nice, yeah,
Um,
excellent, cool, yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
that was my era of like Eddie Jordan and Rubens Barrichello and all those guys. We
Oh
would watch them
man, yeah,
religiously. Like, I loved it back then. Michael Schumacher was my favorite, and
he was a menace. Oh god, he was a menace.
yeah, it's sad what's happened to him.
It has,
Funnily
yeah,
enough, I
but
on
he,
my first birthday, that's when Ayrton Senna died.
yep,
So my mom used to tell me this all the time, where she was like, we were getting ready to celebrate your first birthday, and we were watching Formula One, and as we were getting ready to leave the house, Ayrton Senna like drove his car into the barricade,
yeah,
and then they announced he was dead, and I was like, damn, like
yeah,
died on my birthday. So it's like I was like, that's pretty crazy. I don't know if he died in hospital after, but it's when the steering wheel obviously
yeah,
pierced him.
yep,
But yeah, ever since I can remember, my dad was always a Mika Hakkinen fan.
Oh yeah,
and I
yep,
was Michael Schumacher.
yep,
And my brother he used to like the Jordan, the yellow car,
yep, yep.
and yeah, now he's a Lewis Hamilton fan, and I've kind of tuned out. I don't like a lot of the new rules. It's kind of like lost me. I don't like DRS and all that stuff, so
Mm.
I stopped watching. I think when Alonso might have won his last championship as well, I was a bit like, I think I've seen enough now. I've had enough.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Yeah, no, I've like I probably don't know as much as you in the F1 scene, but I've always been fascinated with like motorsports. I've always loved playing the games. I've been playing Formula One games since F1 first came out. Actually, no, oh no, I think the first one I played was on PS1, but I also used to play the PC versions as well. When they brought out different versions back in the like 90s and stuff.
Mm.
I love NASCAR. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
NASCAR is one that I can't get into. I just like because I've always liked the technical side of racing,
Yeah.
and I always look at NASCAR. I'm like, I'm just here for an accident. Like I'm just here to watch something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But but don't say that to a NASCAR fan because they'll probably tell you a new asshole. They'll be like, no, it's really technical and this and that. And it probably is. I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you're only pulling left all the time, basically, like, like there's got to be some level of like, just fierce determination. Because when you're normally racing on a track, you're going left and right, chicanes, all that sort of stuff. But on a NASCAR track, it's just that you think, okay, that sounds kind of boring, but it's like, but there's got to be more to it. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be.
There must be more to it, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a snobby Brit, and the British have been very successful in Formula One. Like Lewis Hamilton's closing in on Michael Schumacher's record. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like even like I watched Final Destination, and one of them was a NASCAR accident.
Yeah.
And normally when I watch Final Destination, I get scared of like, oh, this shit could happen to me. I could be.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm never gonna be at a NASCAR race. This is the least scary Final Destination.
Yeah. Did you ever, if you don't mind me asking, did you ever go like go-karting or try motocross with your dad or anything like that? Have you ever tried the actual sport itself yet?
Yeah, I went go-karting for my birthday this year.
Oh, nice.
So me and a bunch of my friends went. My dad's just too fast. Like even in his older age, the muscle memory is still there.
Yep.
So whenever we've gone with him, he's just absolutely obliterated us. I'm getting closer, but that's only because he's getting older, not because I'm getting better.
Yeah.
But I think I'm pretty fast. Me and my brothers are pretty fast. Every time we go with our group of friends, it's one of us that, well, all three of us will be top of the leaderboard. One of us will keep on switching around.
Yep.
Even the last time I went, I got third. My two brothers got, well, they say they were ahead of me. We don't know for certain because it was based on how many laps you complete.
Yep.
All of us completed 35 laps, and then my friend completed 34. So we were all on 35, but we don't know exactly who was in first. We didn't check properly because it was just going around.
Yep.
They're convinced they beat me. I'm not so sure because I saw them spin out at one point. So I really enjoyed it.
Did they record the lap times at all?
Yeah, because we paid for, so those two had a faster lap time by me by like 1/10.
Yep.
So I was like, there's no way to know if you've beaten me because 1/10 of a second is so minor. We would be will to will.
Yep.
So I don't know who actually won that. I'll let them have it because I beat them last time. But yeah, we love it. And my friend's girlfriend is also really into racing, and she started like talking shit in the group chat saying she's gonna beat us. So we're probably gonna go back.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, all right. Do you want me to? I don't know how much time you got. I know it's pretty late for you there. I can certainly open up the floor to people's questions in the chat, if you like. So is that cool with you or?
Yeah. I've got like, I think maybe like another 35, 40
Okay,
minutes.
all right. So I'll just put this on screen. Just you guys, if you want to ask a question for our guest, just use the speaker emoji and post it. So, all right. Do you have any guilty pleasure games like that, like that probably nobody would know about? Like for me, as an example, I love playing like fucking like sim games, like transport fucking sim games and shit. It just relaxes me. I love that sort of shit, man. I don't know why, I just do. But is there any guilty pleasure games that you're like, man, I don't give a fuck how old I get or whatever, I'm playing this shit no matter what.
My only guilty pleasure game is Sonic 2006.
Nice.
That
Okay.
game
Yep. Yep. All right. Yep.
is objectively trash. Like it's so glitchy. It's such a messy game. It's broken in so many different areas, but there's something about it that I love. I absolutely love it. And I know that people love that game as well because they've modded it so much.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because there was something there. There was something special there. The developers just didn't finish doing it properly.
Yep.
So Sonic 06 is one of them. Uh,
Was
I'll
it
be
a,
honest.
was it a gift? Like I'm trying to like, was it a gift? The Sonic game, was it a gift or something happening at the time that made you feel very like more connected to it? You think, or just the game?
No, I don't even remember how I got it. I just remember playing it, and my friends were like, "This is shit," and I was like, "It is shit, but I like it." I couldn't understand why. I think maybe because Silver is obviously Trunks, Shadow is obviously Vegeta, and
Yep.
Sonic is obviously Goku. My other guilty pleasure, uh, I don't know, man, because I don't think I've got a guilty pleasure. Like, I don't think I could say I'm guilty or I feel guilty like I'm burning time when I'm playing it.
Yep.
But I really did enjoy Rumble Roses. I thought Rumble
Oh
Roses
yeah.
was it was because it was made by the same people that did Here Comes the Pain, and it was
Yep. Mm.
obviously, character designs, you get labeled a gooner for it, but the game, whenever I turn it on, I'd be like, but this is a good fighting game. Like, it's a really good game.
But
It's
listen, you
just,
don't understand. You don't understand. Yeah.
yeah, I'm playing it with both hands. I promise I'm not gooning. Like,
Yep.
I don't, having to explain to people, no, this is just a really good fighting game.
Yep.
I couldn't because they would look at the screen and be like, this is, well, why would you play something like this? So
Yeah.
there was that. Other than those two, can't say I've got anything that I'm guilty that I feel guilty about playing.
Mm. Yeah. What was it? What would be your favorite console? You think?
Oh, the PS2,
PS
PS2 easily.
PS2? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, PS2's got just a gem. Like behind me, my bed pulls out,
Yep.
and I've got a shelf in there that's like quite deep. It's just full of PS2 games. Like there's at least like I'd say 400 PS2 games in there.
Nice. Did you ever get into like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, anything like that, RPG type stuff or JRPG stuff?
Yeah, my favorite Final Fantasy is 4. Cecil's my favorite main character.
Yep.
Um, Kefka is, I think, the best villain in Final Fantasy. I'd say. I think he's from 6. I'm not a big fan of 7. I like 8. I like 10. And I actually like 16, even though 16 is clearly not Final Fantasy. It's more like Devil May Cry.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I like Final Fantasy. Kingdom Hearts was like my go-to as a kid.
Yep.
I was very disappointed in Kingdom Hearts 3 after waiting all that time. I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was trash.
Yep.
But Kingdom Hearts 2, Birth by Sleep, and Dream Drop Distance are probably my 3 favorite.
Yep. Yeah, the PS2 was just goated. Did you guys ever end up with the fat PS2 over there, so you could put like the hard drive in the back with the network like adapter?
Yeah, we
Did you
had
ever have that?
PS2.
Nice.
Yeah, the really hench PS2, and then we had the slim one was crap because the power wire would always break.
Yep.
But the fat one had a proper kettle power wire, so
Yep.
if it did break, I could just go downstairs and get the kettle and plug it into the PlayStation, which was perfect.
We're still using that on PCs.
Yeah.
It's still, there's something about that cord that just lasts forever. I remember I remember I modded my PS2, so I got an old IDE hard drive and I put it in there. And then I had like a disc that allowed you to take your physical games and dump them essentially into a digital library. So it made it really easy to be able to load up stuff, and rather than having to swap the disc out. I'd never go back to that, man. Maybe I'm just over that disc swapping shit. I don't need physical copies anymore, especially on, like, obviously I'm all on PC, but so you said last time your PC is like older than like dirt, but can you play stuff on PC? Like, have you got any games on Steam or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got quite a big Steam library, but it's mostly like indie horror games.
Oh yeah.
But I actually have a stupidly powerful laptop. But I lent it to my friend for a long time, and she's only just given it back. So
Yep.
it's a 4090
Holy
RTX Razer Star. Yeah, I've got it sitting over here, and when I showed it on stream, everybody started ripping into me, and they were like, "You've had this the whole time, and you've been using that shit PC." And I was like, "Well, not really. I gave it to someone so that she could do her work, and she's come back from Bali now.
Yep.
It's in perfect condition. She didn't do anything to it. But I should probably switch out one of my monitors and just plug it in, and then I'll be able to run everything."
Yeah. Jeez. But you said it's got a 4090 in it. Fucking hell.
It's the Scar Razer 18-inch. So it had, I think last year, before like the new stuff came out, it was like the top of the line PC. A laptop is about as powerful as you could get.
Jeez, man. Yeah, you've been sort of holding out, but not really at your fault. It's not your fault. But that's amazing though. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, like when I like before stream, because I know we did the sound check, because I got like 4 monitors here, and so I kind of like, I've got us popped out, which is on, I don't know if you can see the stream, but so like I've got our Discord in the middle here, and I get everything like all set up as like a fucking like Batman computer station here. But I must admit, like me and my son, we got 4090s a few years ago, or whenever they came out. Because I was looking at games coming out like Black Myth Wukong, and I'm like, there is no way I'm gonna miss out on that. There's no way. I want to see every ass hair on that character. Like I just don't want to miss out. So.
Yeah, Wukong was amazing. Like I got it on PlayStation. PlayStation's still my predominant choice because I like sitting in bed and playing games.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Wukong was amazing. I'm looking forward to Wu Chang. And I'm looking forward to what's the other one? Blood Memories. Blood Memories looks really good. So
that's not the
China's
not the
really doing a good job.
That's not the Fatal Frame type game, is it? No. Oh no. I know the one. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I gotcha. Yep. I know the one.
It got announced a couple of days ago. It looks like a cross between Uncharted, God of War, and The Last of Us, but with like a twist, like obviously the Chinese twist on it.
Are you a old school God of War fan or a new school God of War fan?
No, old school easily. I like the old school hack and slash stuff.
Yeah.
The new stuff is it's okay, but from a narrative standpoint, I understand. Kratos mellowed out.
Yeah.
He tried to step away from being a really angry person all the time, but I miss Kratos just screaming into the clouds, being like he's gonna kill Zeus and stuff. I thought that stuff was so cool.
Yeah, I kind of hope, like, obviously, because Sony's been bringing their catalog out for PC and stuff, and or remasters. I'm kind of hoping we'll get that God of War 3 remaster on Steam, because I remember, like, when the demo came out on PS3, I was dragging my friends over to my house, sitting them on my couch and going, play the fuck out of this thing. You've got to see this. I've never seen anything like it, because what they were doing, that demo was, I think it was on the back of that Titan scaling, up the mountain in the beginning. And on a console, nothing like that had been achieved outside of maybe the closest probably was like what what's that I can't think of the name. They were kind of like chill games, but you climb up like big Shadow Colossus, that's it. Yeah. So that's kind of the
favorites.
Yeah, that was kind of the closest to that. But God of War, I remember David Jaffe before he became whatever the fuck that man is now.
I don't know what is going on with him now, man. He's lost it.
I'll get a theory. I'll get a theory on that. I'll tell you in a sec. It's a theory, but yeah, he I remember because he'd stepped away, I think, at that point. But he said that he remembered seeing like God of War 3 in action, and he said it was like watching a painting come to life. and it always stuck in my head. And when I play that game, like it's still phenomenal. A remastered of that would just, oh, it'd just be fucking so good. You know, it was just amazing from front to back. You know,
Yeah, visually, it's incredible. It's probably one of the greatest openings to a game ever because it's just so chaotic.
yeah, yep, yep, and taking on like Poseidon and shit. That was like, I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know, like with Jaffe, I've had this theory with dudes and daughters for a long time, right? Because I've had friends of mine that end up having kids, and they'll have like, because I got a daughter, right? But they'd end up with like a daughter, and something changes. I don't know. They kind of, it's almost like they have to suddenly become like a feminist, you know. Whereas I don't think that's the best way to be. You know, I think you still need to be the father and you know, and you know, warn them of obviously terrible men out there and things like that. But you don't have to become this. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the same thing with what's his name, the guy that created Gears of War. He kind of went all real soft and funny as well. And I just think it's either something in the water, you know, like Alex Jones says, it's making the frogs go. But I just wonder if that, like when some fathers have daughters, do they suddenly change how they are as a man, you know, as a father? And I don't think you should. I think you should still be the man, you know. It's not your job to become, you know.
I think it's the need to protect your girl.
Yeah.
Sometimes leads these guys away from what would actually protect them in the pursuit of like catering to her emotions rather than common sense.
Yeah.
And I think some of them do it with good intentions. It's like their little girl might be saying something about how boys treat her, and his anger in seeing her so upset is to just listen to her.
Yeah.
When sometimes, even though she's been picked on, maybe her way of dealing with it is not the right way either. So
Yeah.
when dads do that stuff, I try to go easy on them because I remember having a girlfriend, and when something would upset her, immediately I wanted to do everything that I could to try and fix it or protect her.
Yeah.
And sometimes those weren't logical steps to take. So I think as a dad, you need to be more responsible, especially with like the route that some feminism takes these days.
Yeah.
You definitely got to protect your little girl from some of that shit. But
Yeah.
I think the original message, like the raw message of feminism that I don't think is actually ever applied, is just equality for women.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, is a good thing, but I don't think that was ever applied. Like it was supposed to be like that, but people just took it and turned it into something nasty.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I would never call myself a feminist because I don't want to align with any particular movement, because I think people, when they get into groups, they tend to do stupid shit.
Yep.
But I can imagine having a little girl and seeing her upset and having an emotional reaction and being like, I'm just gonna, whatever makes you happy, I'm gonna do that, which is obviously not the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sort of, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened to Jaffe. I mean, this dude fucking created like not only like Kratos but Twisted Metal. You know, like, I mean, you know, like you can't get any sort of more masculine, like, creative than that. What the fuck? Like, I don't know. But I can't take away what he created. You know, he did create some of these great franchises, but I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping like the world's been pretty crazy for a while, and I'm just hoping everything's starting to settle back down. I was going to ask you quickly, do you think things are starting to return to a more sort of, at least heading in the direction of a more normal state now over what we have been experiencing?
It's hard to say because although Trump said that he sorted it out and there's not going to be any more fighting,
Yep.
these people are so all over the place that I just can't take a politician's word. I wake up every day grateful that we're still here in one piece, but like history will tell you that we're at the point now, or we're overdue, something terrible happening.
Yep.
Because it happens over a set period of time all the time. Like humans repeat the same mistakes over and over again, and it does feel like we've reached a boiling point. And even though he's saying that peace has been found and there's nothing's gonna happen,
Yep.
I'm also just like, yeah, but we were this close to something catastrophic happening.
Yeah.
And over here in the UK, Keir Starmer was saying, "Get ready to fight," and we were waking up in the morning reading it, thinking like, this isn't gonna go well. Like
No.
I don't think we live in the same times as back then where people are like enthusiastic to enlist and go and fight. People don't have the same love and belief in their countries anymore because a lot of the governments of these countries they feel like they've abandoned them.
Yep.
So I remember seeing the Sky News put up saying, "Get ready to fight on your own shores," and I was like, "What the hell does that mean? Like, what do you mean fight on our own shores? Are we being invaded?"
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I would like to think things are calming down, but it feels like we're at that point now where it's like something is gonna tip someone over the edge, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's I don't know, not to sort of get like all biblical, but maybe it's meant to be. I mean, it does talk about things basically just getting worse. I don't know what your stances are with things like rapture and stuff like that, but it is prophesized, that things are going to get worse because we are just like our bodies. It's in a decaying world, and I know it sounds bleak, and I'm not trying to be depressing when I say that. I actually find it hopeful that perhaps we are, coming to the point as far as like Christians go that we're going to end up getting, zapped away and stuff like that. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, I just like you said about the movies, it's just you feel it in the movies, it's just slop. Like there's no heart, there's no soul. It's just by the numbers. It's awful stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Music, movies, even a lot of games. It's just like it doesn't feel like you care anymore. I don't feel like I'm being wowed by what I'm seeing. I feel like I'm getting reskins of shit I've seen before, and then you're selling me the stuff that I've seen before. Everything's turned into a live service. The only live service that has actually been able to pull it off, in my opinion, is Helldivers.
That was good. Yep.
Yeah, like it does feel like a lot of love has been lost in our media, but there are still good things out there, but a lot of them are like indie things, even games, like a lot of them are indie games. So I just try to focus on that rather than the crap that these AAA studios are putting out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, my son would be a big fan of your Steam library then because he loves horror games. He loves like playing all the different ones, especially some of the ones you play multiplayer, like co-op, that sort of ones.
Yeah.
Is what, yeah.
Like, we played Into the Backrooms with my friends. Is it Into the Backrooms, or there's one of the backroom games where you play as a group?
Yep.
It's so hilarious, and especially because it's got proximity chat as well. So you probably know how proximity chat works, but if you're next to me, you can hear me clearly. If you're down there, I can't hear you. And sometimes we'd hear someone like faintly in the distance screaming, and we're like, "Shit, we need to go find them."
What was that? What was that ghost game that came out? What was that? Trying to get my son's attention. He's over there. He's eating KFC at this hour of the morning. What was that? What was that ghost game you used to play? Phasmagoria or Phantasmagoria or something like that, right? Right, and I'd be lying on bed, and I thought my son was having a stroke because he'd be sitting there, because in that game you can say stuff to get the ghost to respond, and he'd be repeating himself over and over again. I'm like, it's like, are your friends deaf or something? Like, can they not hear you? All right, and then I find out, no, he's saying this stuff in the game to get the ghost to respond. I had no idea.
Yeah, Demonologist does that as well. I think Phasmophobia was the first one to do it, but Demonologist does that too.
Yep.
Where the ghost will say something, and you pick up the walkie-talkie, and you try to provoke it, and if you swear at it, if you start using curse words, it starts to like get really angry.
Yep.
So like my friends would always put me on like communication duty because they were too scared to do it, and then I'd be like, "Hey pussy, where are you?" Blah, blah, blah. And then like the lights would start going off, and they're like, "Mike, what are you doing?"
That's great. I love it. Oh shit. All right, man. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. I'll round it. Like I'll play. I don't know if you want to talk afterwards or you just want to dip out when I end it. It's up to you. But thanks so much for coming on, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate
No,
it,
no, I
dude.
appreciate it.
So,
It's been. I think you're a very good interviewer.
oh, well, listen. I'll take that as a huge compliment because I remember you saying once I wasn't, sometimes not talking the best, and I actually thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I could do a better job. So
Yeah.
I've actually been having a lot of fun with just doing React content and just chatting to people, and yeah, it's actually been really good. So don't think that like you with the squashing of the stuff, like I told you, like it's had a very positive effect on this end for me as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So I think it's good so that everyone can learn stuff. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. So
Yeah, no, it's been good for me as well. Like this whole YouTube thing has definitely been a learning experience and like how to treat different kinds of people and how to deal with like messy situations
yeah,
and just how to navigate things in general.
yeah,
So yeah, like I think the whole situation benefited me as well. I definitely think it helped other people. As people that like watch both of our videos who felt obligated to one side or like, hey, I
yeah,
like him as well. I'd
yeah,
always be like, you can like both of us. I'm not gonna get angry at you, but I
yeah,
could see where they were coming from. When they were like, we're watching you two fight, and we watch both your channels. So
yeah.
yeah, no, it's been a good experience overall.
Yeah, I know some people still like I think are upset, that everything is everything is going well. And it's like, I just it's not healthy. Like mentally, at least for me anyway, it's not healthy. I'd much rather get
Can't
along with
fight
people
it.
than not, So you know,
Yeah, I don't want to fight with people. Like I know that with the nature of the content that we do,
mm,
fights are inevitable. But I don't wake up in the morning with the idea that I want to fight with people. Like, well, unless it's the melee community. But other than them, I don't wake up with the idea that I want to fight with people. I'd much rather build bridges and like try to mend fences.
yeah,
But at the same time, I also know that because of how I do my content, it's inevitable.
yeah.
People will dislike me, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah. I wanted to say, I just want to give you a shout out, especially on this, obviously, for going in and exposing and talking about a lot of the sort of PDF type stuff, things that you've covered with that sort of nature in those communities. It's kind of it's not something I can really do because I got abused as a kid, so it's not something like, even though I have the intention to like hate on that stuff and have it see completely removed from any and all sorts of parts of the world. It's too close to home for me to talk about a lot of. So, but
Yeah,
I am thankful for people that do it, because it needs to be done. But it is pretty dark, like you're covering stuff there, man. That's pretty. Well, it's evil. It's evil.
yeah.
Let's
These
yeah,
people are they're disgusting. They use video games as a way to get next to kids, or they just abuse people. And I've I've built a relationship with Technicals. I would consider him a friend or someone that I operate within the space. And I've
yep,
always said to him, if you need anything, then I'm here, because he's honestly spent years on his own just exposing these disgusting people, and then they have the goal to go into Reddit and say he's the bad one. So I was like, talking about Tekken and Mortal Kombat's fun, but if I'm doing stuff based around the community, we got to speak about this.
yeah,
There's people committing crimes, and there's people bringing their kids to tournaments not knowing that there's creeps all over the place.
mm,
So they collectively can go fuck themselves. I have no love for them whatsoever, all the people that are doing those things.
yeah,
And I'm also not scared of them either. I know they try to scare people, and I've seen a couple people that are afraid to speak about them, but my the people that acknowledge me are the people that are like in my personal life,
yeah,
and my friends in the real world, and I have my community, and I have built relationships with YouTubers as well. So the opinions of some degenerates is not gonna put me off. They definitely need to be exposed for the things that they're doing.
yeah. Yeah, well, just obviously, like, be safe with all of that. Some of these people can take things way too far. So but yeah, like, definitely be safe with that, man. Now, did you want to pimp yourself out? Tell everyone where they can find you, all that sort of jazz.
Mostly, well, I've been getting a bit of backlash because of me not responding to messages. So I've turned my notifications off on Instagram and Discord because I don't do YouTube full time at work.
Yep.
And they were just it was too much for me to give people meaningful responses. So what I do now is I tell people, just message me on Twitter. I'll respond on there.
Yep.
And because I can have all this stuff in one place. But my Instagram messages are like 80 messages deep now, and I'm like, I can't dedicate time to read 80 messages. And Discord never stops. So yeah, if you want to catch me, I'll be on YouTube under Mike Hollow, and the same on Twitter. And I do respond to people, but just please don't message me on Instagram, because people see me posting memes on there on my story, and they're like, why are you ignoring me? And I'm like, bro, I'm ignoring you. It's like, if I open your message and you go and tell someone that I responded to you, now I'm a villain. Yeah. Now I'm playing fake. So I just want to post memes in peace.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just let a man enjoy his time.
I don't know why Ellen is in the chat talking shit. I actually respond to her. She's one of the only people that I respond to. There's a couple people that I respond to, but I can't get around to all of the messages. Yeah. It's just, if you message me on Twitter, I will 100% respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, Twitter or YouTube, I'll be on there.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. I'll play this last song. Like I said, I don't know. Are you heading off to bed, or did you want to chat after? It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll go to bed because I went gym today and I did legs, and then obviously when I sent you a voice message, I was like running errands and helping people out.
Yeah.
But I am so knackered. Like I'm ready to collapse.
Sounds like you've been really busy a lot lately, man. So, how did your work go? Because you said you went away for a festival. That all went well for you, or?
Yeah, it went really well. There's a lot of different festivals going on right now, and because my work takes me to loads of different places, so sometimes I can't do YouTube content. So there's a lot. We're coming up to summer now, and I've been called to do a whole bunch of different things. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, but it's gonna be tiring as well. So yeah, I've got a bad habit now of doing a stream, and like halfway through the stream, I'm sitting there like. And the stream's like, Mike, you're sleeping again on stream. So yeah, I have been pretty busy lately.
No, that's all right, man. Well, listen, thanks so much for coming on, man. It was awesome. You're always welcome back. And thank you again, for all of the beef squashing stuff. It's been very good. It was very cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro. I'm very happy that we squashed the beef as well.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm gonna play this. So it's the same lyrics, and if you like the songs, dude, just send me a message, and I'll just send them to you. If you want them. So I'll play this. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It was a lot of fun, and I'll see you later, dude, and I'll see you later to everyone else.
Catch you in a bit, bro.
Stick in his hand, from Soulcalibur to Tekken, he's taking a stand. On the screen, he's a beast. Off it, he's real. No tolerance for snakes, he's breaking the seal. Every combo's clean, every red is tight. But he's swinging for justice when he steps in the light. You can hear it in his voice when he calls out the fakes. Not just crushing skulls, he's exposing the snakes. Blue Mike Hollow in the ring, in the scene, guarding the FGC like a war machine. No silence, no fear, he's speaking his mind. When the world gets toxic, he won't stay blind. He fights for the good, for the real and the true. Mike Hollow's coming through. just about frames and punishes. It's about community, integrity, respect. We build this together or we watch it fall. I ain't letting it fall. FGC. Stand with the ones who care. FGC. Call out the ones who scare. FGC. Mike's got your back, beware. This fight's more than pixels, it's truth laid bare. Mike Hollow in the ring, the scene guard.